Hello. Can you all hear me? We have a special thing tonight. First of all, I'd like to say I'm MCToon, the second worst rapper in the world, and we've got a debate tonight. We've got Conspiracy Catz and myself up against Gleem and the Plain Truth. Now, the Plain Truth isn't here yet. We've also got in the house Boolieinator Producing and AT2 Productions, who is not yet here. He's on his way. He's going to be moderating. So Gleem and Conspiracy Catz, how you doing?
Salute, sir.
Yeah, good, thanks. Very good. Sorry, I had a bit of an audio issue then.
Oh, that's all right. I'll go over a couple housekeeping things here quickly before we try to kind of get into it. Thank you very much to Boolieinator for producing.
Check, mic check.
Oh my goodness.
Hello. What oh? All right, let's get this party started.
Welcome to the Plain Truth who just showed up.
Good evening.
I was starting a little housekeeping here just before we got going, Travis, if you don't mind. Thanks to Boolieinator for producing, and AT2 if he shows up here pretty soon for moderating. Also thanks to Catz, Gleem, and the Plain Truth for coming in. This I really appreciate it. I think it's going to be a great time.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So later tonight I've got a debate with just myself and Rayism24B, who used to be a planar surveyor. He has some. He messaged me and kind of insisted on a debate, so we'll see how that goes. Next week, I've got a strange one. We've got Hip Hop Hippie and McFlatty against myself and maybe FTFE. So yeah, McFlatty. Do not sub to McFlatty. He's quite terrible. Anyway, so I'll put the links in the description for everybody on here who's not. I haven't done that yet, but. That's it for housekeeping. So we're going to get into it. The topic today is perspective and refraction, and each of us have our own presentation we're going to do. It's going to be 10 minutes presentation from one, 10-minute presentation on the other, and then we're just going to have a 20-minute discussion. So that's one topic. Then we'll have a little intermission.
Can I follow up real quick?
Yeah, hold on. Let me finish the
okay.
the overview. Yep. And then we'll do another topic, 10, 10, 20, and then we'll have some question and answer from the audience or whatever, and it should be about 2 hours total. So yeah, what do you have, Travis?
So I tried to email you my files and it would not load. So I sent you the files on Skype, but it won't let me send any more images because you have to accept me. Will you accept me, please?
Oh, I will accept you. There we go. I downloaded. Actually,
that's unacceptable.
I'm not. Yeah, I have to. I have to get them. I'll get them to Boolieinator. Because he's got the one. He'll have to put them up. So I'll work on that. While somebody else is talking, somebody else is presenting. So how about Gleem? We figured this out before, and why don't you do your presentation while I try to download the stuff from Travis?
Sure. So as you've just to reiterate what you just said, this one's about perspective and refraction, aka the ether band, everybody drink. Now, I am going to represent the perspective side of the flat earth and attempt to present a framework and ask a question as to why globe earthers do not account for a lot of what I'm going to present here, which in turn can become a mechanism for hiding stuff bottom up. Travis, can you mute up? I think that's you. I don't think anyone else has got industrial stuff going on. There we go. Yeah, so if you can pop up the PowerPoint presentation. Skip this one. Oh, he dropped. So yeah, this was just basically saying my aim is to come from a flat earther's point of view, asking questions to the globe earthers and explaining how it would work on a flat earth using perspective. And then I actually first met Travis, wandered in on one of his live streams, and I was cocky and still am, everyone would probably be saying, but I was cocky and I said, oh, I can explain what you're showing me with just perspective. And I run the numbers and couldn't. And what he was actually showing is on top of the effects that I'm just about to present now. So what I'm going to present here is a basic geometric framework for what I like to call an apparent topology, which is basically our illusion that we see every day that isn't actually reality. Can you go on to the next slide, please? Okay, so next slide, that's just the contents. It's only four slides. Hopefully I'll do this in 10 minutes. So there's a lot of thing about the human eye versus the camera. I believe they both suffer a lot of the same distortions. However, I will say that the camera can add more distortions, if anything. However, it is more clear and it does allow you to analyze observation better. So similarities there, I'm sure everyone would agree on this. They've both got spherical lenses. They've both got resolving power limits. There is an altitude limit, which I think I'll go through in more. I don't know whether you'll agree on that, but we'll find out later. A distance distortion. I don't know whether anybody's aware of this, but photographers surely are. It's actually called distance distortion and mistaken as lens distortion, where the scenery disproportionately resizes itself depending on your focal length. Now, also there is physical obstruction, which I'm sure you're aware, Ranty has gone through the likes of swell and tides and waves, and you do have physical bumps and lumps in land topology, basically. And what they both have is a central perspective point that everything converges into. Now, the differences I see is the camera is a single lens, so you only get a monocular view. A camera has a zoom, which does have its plus sides in as much you can go further in distance and resolve more. However, that does have additional distortions to account for. You can obviously record with a camera, so you can take multiple photographs with your eyes. You've only got memories to recall. And obviously you've got that comparative analysis then once you've got multiple photographs. And you always get device distortions, whether that will be the lens, whether that will be even the heating of the camera can cause a certain level of distortion. And then zoom distortions, which is similar to the distance distortion I was on about. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, looking at this picture, I'm just going to very briefly skim over this because I've only got 5 minutes and so. So if you look on the left-hand side, obviously standard picture, if you imagine this is train tracks, loose train tracks, but running off to the distance, obviously everything converges. Let's just say we are 1 meter in altitude, 1 meter in height. Now, I don't know whether you're aware, this isn't a sneaky trick or anything like that, but that box on the left-hand side is also 1 meter. If you were to straighten it up and put it right in the front of the actual view, which I'm not going to tell David to do, but I may make this available so MCToon can put it on his website. And then you can play with it yourself, and you can actually swivel that round to be flat on, so you see a square, and it will only take up half of the horizon. Now, bearing in mind the horizon is halfway through that image there, and you are, let's say, 1 meter high, and that block is 1 meter. Now, that block is now covering the horizon just due to its pose. Now, obviously, that's a massive extreme effect close up to you, but that is covering more than your eye altitude, let's say. So there are distortions with 3 things mainly that I've looked into, and that's pose, distance, obviously things shrinking, and that's the main one that a lot of people concentrate on, the angular diameter formula. And then there are additional distortions from the device or eye or psychology of how your brain represents what you're seeing. Can you go to the next frame? I'm just going to try and skip over this. Now, what I found is when I was first looking into this, and it was the flat Earth discussion that actually made me look into this, albeit I touched on a bit of Kinect, Xbox Kinect programming, which was absolute rubbish and nowhere near in depth. It was only a few hours, so nothing majorly learnt there. However, on looking at the flat earthers' point of view and seeing that they're saying, oh no, you've got an apparent rising floor that contributes to hiding stuff from bottom up. And I then hear a globe earthers argument, don't be so stupid, the floor's flat. If the floor's flat, you'll be able to see all of the object. There'll be nothing in the way actually stopping you from blocking stuff bottom up. And you can actually do this on a table and obviously show a coin not disappear if you're above the table. If you're slightly in line with it or below it, you can obviously make it disappear by the edge. Shout out Bearded Devil in the chat. I know you're there. You've been doing all of that trickery and that nonsense. Anyway, so what I come across is a whole field of, let's say, psychology, which is based around perspective and visual space. Now, I hope that's clear enough for you because I'm getting a compressed version, but I think that's by necessity. Either way, there is the paper link down there. You can search the actual paper and it links me to a lot of my research. Anyone like Al-K or B-Ball in the chat will remember me in such episodes, such as Halsey, where I presented a lot of papers basically showing that in the field of psychology, they have noticed that humans underestimate distance because of a compression thing happening with the floor, the ground surface. Now, with this is an additional thing that you need to be adding onto your geometry, which I do not understand why you don't account for this to try and shut flat earthers down on their own terms. Now, all I've seen for 2-3 years now is just pure avoidance. I've even brought this up. People have denied orthographic, showing perspective in orthographic view, showed them multiple papers actually using that, even down to virtual reality is using perspective to obviously identify objects. So they are using these types of methods to actually determine what a robot would be able to see with a single camera. Can you go to the next slide? I've got 1 minute 28. I feel like I'm in a UFC or something like that, and I've got a minute to get the guy knocked out. So finally, I'll go on to the questions. If we can ask the questions afterwards. But what I propose is, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on this, what we see and what we experience, whether it's through a camera or whether it's through your eyes, because things converge like train tracks and stuff, everything is an illusion or illusionary. It's apparent. So things are in their apparent position, things such as the sun, the moon, the horizon, the stars, and obviously globe earthers will come from the point of view and say, not when it's at zenith, which I can agree with that, but at all other points it is slightly off, and then it gets worse at the horizon. However, you're both building, flat earthers and globe earthers are both building their framework from an apparent illusion, okay, and making their models fit this apparent illusion. So I propose that flat earthers can do the same and use proven science to actually be a mechanism to block stuff bottom up. Now, the one thing in this diagram up the top there, you might not be able to see, but there's a lighthouse on the right-hand side. I've put the limit distances right across, and halfway is a P1000. If you go to the left there, halfway between that is a P900, halfway between that's the human eye. Now, if you can see, you will not be able to resolve the floor from the middle to the...
Could everyone hear the end of Gleem's presentation? Because
Okay. I hear you fine. All right. Yep.
Am I there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Looks like
Yep,
the video
you
is
see what
back up line.
effect? You see the effect? The Gleem effect? I break the internet, mofo.
Saying that already. Maybe you need to repeat your last like 30 seconds. Oh, you're cutting out there, Bool.
Yep, I'm here. Don't tell me I have to start all that again and we lost it at 2 minutes.
No.
It was
They're
right
saying
at the
it's
end, yeah.
buffering back. It says YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. They said you were at 10 seconds remaining when you cut out, or 30 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know.
Am I live now?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe ask that question real specific.
Yeah. So the core question is, what I've witnessed is a lot of globe earthers just using the angular diameter formula, thinking that that is rock solid, and basically concentrating on the object. What I want to know is, why do globe earthers avoid the ground surface in your calculations? That is my core question.
And who's that to?
If you can bring up the last slide, that is to all globe earthers on their globe. There we go. If either way, the science I didn't really go into major depth with, but a lot of people would have read this. But the science is there to say that there is a distortion beyond the. It's basically called the size distance invariance hypothesis, SDIH.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically where they're saying that the angular diameter formula is not fit for purpose. And especially when you have additional distortions like cameras and blah, 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 blah. But a lot of globe earthers would just basically pull out the angular diameter formula, put it in an orthographic view, and say, look, flat earthers, you can't explain what is blocking that. There's nothing there blocking that. And they're not including perspective at all in that. So I want to know why.
Right.
To any glober, or as
all right,
Catz or to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that'll be.
Are we answering that now, or are we doing
our discussion? So,
or unless you want to get
no, that
okay.
unless
we'll
you
get to
want
that
to
after.
do a
So I
presentation back, and then we'll.
Yeah. I got 10 minutes myself coming on perspective, and then after that we'll do our 20-minute back and forth where all four of us can
Sure.
chime in.
Yep.
So now I need to present. Can I do that, Bool, or can I not?
Send me what you wanted to present?
No, I did not. Can I share my screen?
The only way to share would have been that virtual cam software you were using earlier.
I can't share.
Yeah.
Daddle.
So, like...
All right. Oh, it looks like it's maybe buffering again.
I am sorry, guys.
Or we could, I could set up a quick...
What is wrong with this today? It's like my whole internet just decided to flake out. Right.
Do you think it's because Travis is driving in the opposite way to the Earth spin?
Just go ahead and blame.
Oh, how you doing, Jared?
Better now that I'm not on the road.
Can you drop your output? How much are you outputting?
output to whom? Like I can't. Once you start a stream, you can't change it. Like that's a big no. So it is. Why does it keep doing this? It's
how much are you doing?
I am doing 3 megabits. It should be fine. It should literally be fine. I've been streaming literally all day, and it's been fine. But not, of course, now when I have something new to do to screw it up. Sorry about this, guys.
We're getting feedback from the chat. Blame CERN.
Blame CERN. Okay. Come on. Keep going. Is it still screwed up on the actual stream, or is it just... like, I hit live and it just sits and spins. Do I need to reboot? Do we need to, like, take our 5 minutes and do that now? Like, I could restart my modem, but I don't know if that's going to help.
Our 5-minute intermission? Well,
you should be getting data.
looks like it might be getting it.
Is it excellent connection? Because that's usually what it says.
It says excellent connection. Bill and Ted would be happy.
Excellent.
Okay. So it looks like we're back, people. And we've got Jared in the house now. Are you still here, Jared?
Yes, I am.
All right. So Boole, I have I can email you my images.
Can I just say to the audience, that was planned and it was on purpose. They was like, right, emergency plan number 1. If he comes up with something we can't answer and we need to confer, crash it.
Oh, don't worry, Gleem. And that's why I'm here, to make sure people actually answer the questions that are put to them. And it's going both ways.
Yep, salute. Me and Travis can do a duet.
Oh no.
I think I got Travis's pictures. Whoa. And I got this.
I just wrote a new Flat Smack song, so I can sing it for you if you want.
Yeah, how about
I don't know if anybody wants that.
I also got this Debate Mirage, whatever that is, from you.
Super chat if you don't want it.
And
super
then
chat if you don't want it.
Yeah, super chat if you don't want to hear.
Yeah, I'll just. Oh yeah, you know what we'll do? We'll make it stop. Super chat. I'll just start singing right now, and you make it stop.
Oh.
I can end your pain. And I also got this new recording 75, whatever that is. So I've got several assets already sent to me from others. So if there's something else we could do to fill the time while it's getting ready.
Yeah, so I did email you my first set of photos.
So
Go ahead,
unorganized, these Globers.
That's Jared.
Okay, that's literally the only pictures I've got from you are the ones that say pictures from TPT.
Okay, yep. And I just sent the next set, so it'll give you a minute.
Oh, okay. So you accepted me on Skype, so you got those pictures I sent through. How many came through?
It looks like 10? 11. 11,
I think.
Hold on, let me look at the slideshow.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. There
there
should be one more. I'll send the last one.
Okay, so sorry about this, folks. And why is
I can make up a story. While you're doing that, what actually happened was there is this giant lobster, and it snipped. It didn't actually cut though. It snipped the transatlantic cable. And what happens is pressure caused what there will be in a minute is an influx of quality.
Why did that affect the connection on my end then? I'm in the same country. As a matter of fact, even in the same time zone as Bullionator.
Yeah, well, you've got to send it over to here. It's a network. Did you know the internet's a network? So
really,
you're talking to someone who's been dealing with network connectivity for 20 years. There are other routes that do not go from the southern part of the eastern seaboard to the northern part of the eastern seaboard across the ocean.
But you've got to understand that
so
if it
try
was
again.
Taking the other route, if it was taking the other route, it would have got here. You've got to understand that if it went the other way around the world, it would have got here, and it didn't. It failed. So it must have been a lobster.
Proper network is
no two ways about it.
self-healing.
If P, then Q. Come on.
And it's almost.
I'm just trying to feel the
It's
time.
almost like wide area networks are self-healing and will reroute automatically.
They do. They're like them tires. You know those tires? As soon as a lobster gets them, they'll refill back up after the pressure's taken off. Are we ready yet?
Are we ready on your end?
No, actually, we're not. Like I said to MCToon, I've still
I will
only
say
got...
though.
Okay.
Interesting fact.
Gleem,
hold on.
Gleem, hold on. We're trying to get this technical issue resolved, please, for a second. I've only still got the pictures from TPT. That's the only ones I've got.
All right.
Why can't ballers
rejected
multitask?
the email? So hold
on. And why can't ballers multitask? I'll take the bait. Right. Why?
No, that's the hashtag. Hashtag. Why can't ballers multitask? It's just a. Yeah. But in the meantime,
I thought it was going to be a bad dad joke.
Got
it. I think we got. I was just wondering, like, why
is this
made
debate over?
No, see, the bad dad joke is Travis.
No, it's not over.
Bull,
right.
You missed it. The bad dad joke is Travis.
Hold on a second.
Shh, people.
All right, I got Bull. I sent you a Dropbox link.
I'm pulling it up now.
I'll read some super chats while you get that set up, and then we'll come back. How about that? That's a good idea.
That sounds like something to do.
Okay. Well, so Ilya Moon for $5 says blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. Gleem's debate for $2 says space comma. You got a space comma for us there, Catz?
I love it. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I don't know.
Space comma.
Oh, it looks like we're buffering again. It's I think it's when Bool downloads stuff. It kind of seems to coincide.
Kind of don't think that's the case. Sorry to disappoint you, but I have a 500 megabit download speed. It is not my internet.
If P, then Q. It's got to be the lobster.
Oh. All right. Let's see. We've got digital.
Okay, I get it, Gleem. You're hungry.
I'm veggie as well, so no way.
Lobster counts as veggie. Digital demonic Davros 5 Australian says, nope, he's already wrong. This is a waste of your time, Mr. Toon. Baldy Catz, this is not worthy of your time, mate. Good luck with the derp. Oh, that's a tough crowd there, Gleem. Jessica G for $2 says, Gleem, put us to sleep as well as the stream itself. Could be.
Ouch.
It's voice activated.
Okay. Okay. I have your slideshow here.
MC. Right. Well, let me catch up. Let me catch up, and then I'll jump into it. Where did I go? Jessica G again says only missed the part where he showed no evidence. So all right, why don't I'll highlight that. We'll go back.
I did tackle that.
We'll go back.
So
I am ready if you have the Dropbox link that I sent.
I do. I've got it all set up and ready to go. Is it $10? Is it $10? Or 10 minutes rather? Sorry.
Yeah, and then I have a second one that I emailed to you that's smaller that probably will make it through. So.
Oh, don't do that. It did not. It's still sitting there. Last one, pictures from TPT. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I got copy Dropbox link. There you go.
You can do mine if you're ready for mine.
There you go.
No.
All right. No, he's ready with mine.
No, not quite. Now you've added to it.
Well, just the first set. That's fine for now.
Do we need more lobsters?
Yes.
Okay, let me download this and see if we drop, because I don't think we will. All right.
Okay.
All right.
If we have another drop, we've got another piece of evidence here.
Yes. This is the great experiment, guys. How to not do a debate. Show and folder.
Oh.
It's actually making more sense than any debate that's ever been on Nathan Oakley's channel. And that's like, we are still making more sense than a lot of Flat Earth debates.
Just like the non-sec, though, I think this will be the last Flat Earth debate on this channel. No, I'm joking.
What? Oh my goodness! I got
You're
one
gonna convert
scheduled
us.
later today.
Yeah, I was going to say, you do know there's more scheduled immediately after this, right?
Yeah.
You will cancel them after I pull out the guns, and Travis comes in and bazookas you all.
I think there's a better chance of McFlatty bringing evidence that shuts us down.
All right, so I have your other bits. Your sunset from.
All right, yeah. So it's the other one first. The other set first.
The perspective one. Okay.
Perspective. So,
okay, let me get
perspective from Toon.
Slideshow settings. Put this to 0. Here we go. All right. So now we've got perspective, and you're getting 10 minutes on the clock, right?
Yes.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Jared, watch the clock.
I'm ready.
I will.
All right. Are you gonna? Do I see it? All right. Well, I went to. There we go. This is a truck. All right. It's a trailer. Actually, it's 53 feet long. I decided to measure it without using a tape measure to see how tall it is. So this next one there, you'll see I got a tape measure that to measure the entire length. So go to 2, right, and then go to 3, and you'll see it is 52 feet and 10 inches long. Right. Then I did not measure the height yet. I measured the angle. So if you look at number 4 there, I used the Theodolite app on my phone to measure the bottom of it, which is negative 0.5 degrees. Go to the next slide. And you'll see I measured to the top, which is plus 10.0 degrees. Right. So then I did a little bit of math. Right. I didn't need to do this. I didn't need to use a tape measure to see how tall it was. I did some math to see how tall it was. So let's see here. Go to the next one. Yeah. So I did the math. I'll get to that in a second here. So go to trailer height 2 and 3. So I did use a tape measure to confirm. I'll go to number 8. I'm going through this quickly because here's the cool thing. Here's how I calculated perspective. Right. Go to the next one there. So here's the things that I brought to the table. I brought 52.83 feet long. I brought 2 angles, the 10.5 degree angle at the one side and the 90 degree angle at the other side. Using nothing but geometry now, we can know how tall that is. Now, I used the semi-trailer because the Plain Truth knows how long and how tall a semi-trailer is. So Plain Truth, how tall should I be getting there?
13.6.
13.6. Well, I didn't get 13.6. That I measured it. It's so I calculated it. If you go to the next one there, 9.8 feet tall is what I calculated just using math. My measure was 9.
You're talking just about the box. You're not talking the total height from ground.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. Just the box.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you need to know for bridges, don't you? So yeah. So I measured it to be 9.71 feet. So I'm off. That's just over an inch. So not using a tape measure, I was able to measure how tall that box was to an accuracy of about an inch. Right now, that's going to, I could do some error analysis, margin of error analysis on my theodolite app of, you know, half a or a tenth of a degree, things like that to get some error bars on it. But I'm not going to go over that now. It gets a little drudging if we were to do it. So so that's the cool thing. Now here's what you can do next, because I used perspective and I calculated it. You can do the next thing. You can see I can walk away from it a certain distance, right? And then I can measure the height of it, angular size of it, using at that distance. So here I have, go to the next one here, you'll see I went 100 feet away, because that's as far as my tape measure went. And I measured the angle again at 100 feet away. So if you get all the way up to 14, you'll see the angle of the bottom there. It's negative 0.3 degrees, and up at the top, it's positive 5.1 degrees, for a total of 5.4 degrees, right? Now, at 5.4 degrees, we can calculate that height to be 9.45 feet. Now, the measured height is 9.71 feet. Again, very, very close. Now, I'm farther away. The margin of error is a little larger because of the theodolite app. So here's the deal. The point is that geometry works. We can use geometry to calculate how far away these things are. So that's the real evidence, real information, real numbers in the real world that I used to test and verify that we can use math to relate ourselves to things that we can't actually measure with a tape measure, right? So now you can pop into the next one here. So we can do that very same thing with the sun. So let's say the Earth is flat for a second, right? Here is, and the common claim is that the sun does circles around the North Pole. If that is anybody's idea of how it works, then you don't get a choice really about where the continents are laid out. This is the only choice if that's the case, but doesn't matter. Forget about it. I know where I am in Minneapolis at 45 degrees north, and we know no matter what that the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn on December 21st or 22nd, depending on where you live. And we also know that it's 1 degree of latitude per 1 degree of latitude is 60 nautical miles. That's actually how we defined a nautical mile. So from Minneapolis to the Tropic of Capricorn, the nearest point of the Tropic of Capricorn is a certain distance. Now that particular slide is broke. It is 68.5 degrees. So go, and that is 4,730 miles. So you see this triangle here. I did the same thing as I did for the semi-trailer there. We have the length across the bottom, 4,731 miles. I measured myself, I don't have pictures of this, but they're on my website. I measured myself the angle that the sun is above the horizon at local solar noon on December 22nd or 21st, 2019. 22.51 degrees. So that now we have angle, side angle. Go to the next slide, and we can know if the Earth is flat, the elevation of the sun is 1,973 miles, right? You'll see this is familiar. This is similar to how Eratosthenes did it, but I'm assuming a flat Earth. I'm testing the hypothesis that the Earth is flat, and I'm using the perspective that we already know works to see if we can pass the test on this hypothesis. So we know the elevation of the sun is 1,973 miles if the Earth is flat, as measured myself from Minnesota. So go to the next slide. So I did the same thing that night, just math. We know to the farthest point away on the Tropic of Capricorn is 158.5 degrees latitude, which is 10,944 miles, right? That's the subsolar point in the middle of the night. That's the local solar nadir. That's as far away as the sun will ever get if the Earth is flat. So you go to the next one there. So I did the same thing now, just another triangulation. We know already that the elevation of the sun, if the Earth is flat, is 1,978 miles. I know how far I am from the farthest point of the Tropic of Capricorn. And we can calculate the angle above true level that it will be. Just solving a triangle. This is eighth grade math. And you can use an online triangle calculator if you don't want to do the trig yourself. So go to the next one here. And we can see in the middle of the night in Minnesota, on the day of the December solstice, the sun must be 10.22 degrees above true level. Now, the sun was not there in the middle of the night, I can tell you for sure. The sun went down across the horizon somewhere around 4:30 in the afternoon on that day. It was definitely below 10.22 degrees above the horizon, which is what perspective absolutely insists is the case for a flat Earth, right? So here's the deal. I used a real calculation, a real life example to show that my stuff will work, that calculating perspective will work. If the claim is that calculating perspective does not work and something else works, then I would expect to see it being used somewhere else so that we can confirm that it works. If it's just a claim saying this is just how you do it, I don't care. I want to see it actually in use like I already did. So if P then Q, right? So if the Earth is flat, then the sun would never set. In fact, in the middle of the night in Minnesota, it would be 10.22 degrees above the horizon. The sun sets, therefore the Earth is not flat. And that is the end. How's that? 10 minutes right on.
Right on the dot.
Good time.
He's been practicing that in the mirror.
Oh, brilliant.
So what happens now? Can I rebuttal all of that?
So,
or do we go to my questions, or?
We're going to have a 20-minute back and forth. All
back and forth.
Yep. So now is the back and forth, so behave yourselves and I'll get to stay quiet.
Can you reset the clock to 20 instead of 10?
Working on it.
Sorry, repeat that, Catz. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, do you want to, because you did fuzz out a little bit at the end of your presentation. Do you just want to give us what your first question was? Because I think I got it, but it might have been your second or third because because of the buffering. What was your first question?
Yeah, what would be really good, and I'm sorry to say this, but it would be better because it's fresh in people's minds. Just after he's just presented that, what I want to do is counter, just quickly counter. There was 4 points that I really wanted to counter in that, which I already actually countered in my presentation. But then I would like you to bring up one of the slides, which is the last slide on there had my 3 questions I needed to ask you all. So I've just jotted some notes down here, and based on, sorry, if we cannot put the questions up just yet, because I'm going to answer what MCToon just presented there. What I presented before you, MCToon, was I basically said, why do globe earthers always concentrate on the object? Now, fair play, it may have cut out by then, and you may not have heard that. But my core thing is that, number one, your truck, first off, and your Theodolite app, it wasn't stable. It was slightly off and slightly tilted, but it was good for purpose, fit for purpose. For the estimate that you wanted to do, it was good for purpose within a reasonable error margin, let's say. Now, couple of things that we're talking here. We're talking long distance shots that we're more analysing when talking flat Earth versus globe Earth. So we're talking a minimum of 3 to 5 miles. Maximum can be up to 100. I mean, Miles Davies has done 130 odd kilometres. And there are many more. Obviously, the longest and whatnot is in there. But you're showing something that, yes, for practical purposes, does work in short scales. However, what I presented, and a lot of people in the chat said, Gleem didn't present nothing then. And what I actually presented was a paper which has done multiple, and we're talking dozens upon dozens, dating right back to the 1950s, which have shown that there is perspective effects in your side view, your orthographic view. Now, that leads me on to the final bit where you basically showed the sun. Again, I said it's an apparent object, and you're doing angles off of the horizon, which again is another apparent object. I mean, not forgetting when the sun...
True level, not horizon, true level.
Okay, well, either way, the horizon in my eyes is apparent, and it does move. However, the sun, as soon as we see the sun and photograph as well, as soon as we see with our eye and photograph the sun, the bottom of the disk touches the horizon. The real sun on the globe Earth model has already set fully beyond the horizon by 0.5 degree due to refraction. Okay, so you're looking at an apparent sun and comparing that with an apparent horizon and coming up with this geometric figure, which I agree with you. If you were God looking in on the system, that would not seem to work. But you're taking and this was again going right the way back to our original debate between us. You're not God. You can't see from that perspective. You are taking the photo and all the measurements from a perspective distorted environment or apparent topology. And you're doing nothing to reverse engineer any of these distortions. Now, the final counter I want to counter with yours is on your sun triangle that you put right at the very end, saying over on the other side, it should be up. We should be able to see it. Now, if you looked across the bottom, you had 11,000 miles or something like that. A human standing 6 foot off the ground, they cannot see 11,000 miles of the floor in front of them. Yeah, due to perspective. And this is the same on the globe as well, because your perspective converges. There is a limit. Yeah, so you can still have obviously drop going beyond the curvature, but you can't deny that perspective affects and distorts what you're actually recording and viewing. Now, I will say, just to finally wrap it up and then move on to my questions, is that when you're taking a photo at 6 foot, and I'm not one of these people who say always rise to eye level, because even on a flat Earth, in my eyes, it would have to dip at some stage. But either way, when you're actually photographing this horizon, what half of your picture, let's say you've got the horizon dead on halfway, which I've quoted a paper many a times done by NASA scientist David K. Lynch saying that barrel distortion always takes place unless you've got the horizon dead center of the lens. Now, he is basically, if you imagine that picture, you've got sky 50% upwards, land 50% downwards on your flat 2D photograph that you're taking away from this observation. Now, 50% of your view is full of that land. So that is what is taking up that missing degrees, because your limit of the floor is what allows things to be hidden beyond that. And that is what I'm proposing with the backing of that science paper, to say we've done many studies. Yes, we do not see in this perfect angular diameter calculation that you've just presented there, especially at distance. So the papers I did present are mainly at short distance, 10, 15, 20 meters. But there are many other papers there that go 15 kilometers and show exactly the same effect. Right, humans and cameras show that. Yeah, sorry, apologies.
So what's your question?
So if you can now put up my slides. So that was to counter yours. to basically say you're not concentrating on the floor.
Hold on, let me address
and
that. Let me address that.
Yes,
before we
please
move
do.
on.
Please do. That would be fresh. That would be better to be fresh.
So in absolutely no cases does the floor cross true level if it doesn't physically get higher in elevation. Unless you have an example of that, I'm going to absolutely dismiss everything you just said there, because we can calculate perspective, and as I show there already. So I'll dismiss all of your floor arguments, all of the horizon arguments. None of that matters, because I wasn't talking about the curve of the horizon or anything about the horizon. I was talking about the sun, which is an object. It has a source of light, no matter where it's, if it's physical or if it's not, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but it has a source. So we can triangulate the source and where that source is. So you didn't address any of those things. You seem to suggest that because it's far, then the rules of perspective change. If they change, please present them and evidence supporting that they change. But until then, I don't care about any of what you said, because you didn't actually support it with evidence. You talk about this paper it's a perceptual thing. I don't know what it is. You didn't really bring up any details from it, and of course we can't look at it right now. You didn't really counter anything. The perspective stuff that I calculated stands unchallenged. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry,
Catz,
is this
from
an
you?
open panel?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Yes, this is the back and forth bit.
Sorry,
Okay,
was
so,
someone asking me?
Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah. So I just was asking if we were if it was an open panel. So I have some questions. Okay. So MCToon, how did you verify the value that you arrived at through your Theodolite app?
How did I verify it? Well, I did the calculations based on the distance and the angle, and then I measured it with a tape measure.
Okay, so
And
you
I
verified it.
I was
by,
about an inch off.
Sure, but you verified it by physically measuring it, correct?
Sure.
Okay, and what was the error margin when measuring the trailer? Did you figure out that at all?
I did not include a margin of error analysis in it for the 10 minutes. I wouldn't have had time to do any of that.
Is it a simple thought process? Can you guesstimate, or is it too complicated? It's okay if it is. I'm just asking.
No. So the margin, I measured only to the nearest inch. For the length of the trailer, the positioning of my camera was within an inch. The angle up and down is plus or minus 0.05 degrees. So yeah, we could do that,
so
and
are
we would.
Those... Okay, so are those values the margin error value then? Are they the same, equivalent?
That would be what we'd input into
it...
the analysis. Yeah.
Okay, so curious, what would be the error margin in your measurement of the sun's angle and distance?
Yep, it'd be pretty similar. The angle that I had when I measured would be I measured the shadow length, so it's gonna that was much closer. That'd be about probably a 1/4 inch angle, 1/4 inch on the ground, the bottom. Less than that for the elevation of the top of the shadow casting object that is a tripod. So, but a 1/4 inch on either is fine. Same thing. It's going to give us a slight 1/10 of a degree change, and then to add in, we couldn't add in the known values of refraction, which works out to, at that elevation, works out to be less than 0.01 degrees based on due to refraction. Elevation, it's an increased elevation of the sun.
Okay, so I'm sorry, just real quick, succinctly, again, what was the error margin in determining the distance to the sun?
I did not do a margin of error analysis on that either. Again,
okay.
I don't have
math.
That's okay.
Rough
I don't
math.
have.
Okay.
Hang on. engineer here. Rough math, less than 5% error.
Okay, and were you able to verify your calculations by measuring the distance physically like you did the trailer?
No, but we do know that geometry works. So
It's just a yes or no question. It's just a yes or no question. Were you able to physically verify that?
Nope.
Okay, so it's possible that the error margin could actually be greater?
No.
And
No.
how do you know it could not be greater?
Because the margin of error isn't something that we verify on the post end of it. It's based on the accuracy of the measurements that are input into it. So it's going to be based on the length of the shadow and the height of the tripod that I used. Those are going to be the inputs to the margin of error.
Okay, right. And what were the values of refraction again that you used to determine accuracy?
I did not include it in this particular one, but at the elevation of 22 degrees, it's less than 0.01 degree elevation increase.
And how did you determine that value?
Through tables that have been published for centuries. In the,
and how did you verify those tables?
Other people have done that. So the nautical ephemeris from 1767 is the one, the chart that I use for that. But it's a nominal amount. The change induced by that by refraction is smaller than the margin of error for my measurements.
So did you do any comparative analysis to see if on a different day you might have gotten different values?
Well, a different day I would certainly get different values because the sun angle is higher. And I did do just a couple weeks ago the June solstice one.
Okay, but did you use that as a control? Did you have a control and a comparison with what you're presenting?
No, it's just
to us?
a measurement. A measurement, yeah.
Okay, so are you considering a calculation, a measurement?
Absolutely, yeah. Unless you can disprove geometry, working, then this is the entire field of surveying is based on doing this kind of stuff. So, if you have some,
is there a difference between
substantial disproof of that? I'd love to see it.
I'm just asking questions, MC. I'm just asking questions. Is there a difference between measuring something and calculating something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'd say they can both be the same. I'd say you could use a calculation as a measurement. You can calculate the volume of an object, can't you? And have that as a measurement.
Okay, great. My last question is, if the angular size of the sun were different, would that change your value, your result?
Not at all.
And how did you verify this?
That's not how those things work. It's gonna get because the shadow is based on it doesn't matter the angular size. It's gonna give the geometric center of the sun.
All right, thank you.
And did you use the arcs in?
No, I did not calculate the angular size of the sun was not part of any of my calculations here. So.
Yeah, can I just say, just before we move on, because I don't want to get caught up in this, but I don't know whether you can chuck up my presentation and just very briefly go through the slides, because you've just literally hand-waved, dismissed everything I said and just said you didn't present anything against this. Number one, I said your truck thing was a load of nonsense because it's short scale and that doesn't work on large scale. And then I produced a paper which has got actual experiments inside it showing that exact thing. And then I have produced data that I have calculated myself showing that there is a disproportionality of what you can resolve versus how far something is away, with the lighthouse being double the distance.
Well, I was going to answer your questions.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
Put the questions up, I reckon.
Well, like when you opened up your rebuttal with MCToon, the first thing you said was like, you want to say this while it's fresh in your mind, and that's quite quite a coincidence, because when you were giving your presentation, what was fresh in my mind was a program I watched on BBC iPlayer. So for any Americans, that's like a BBC catch-up service we get on the internet over here. And I only watched it a few days ago, and it was all about the effect of what we call the dolly zoom, which is the famous shot used in Jaws when what's his name is on the beach and the background, and it talked about how those effects are created. And you know that when you're on, like, you watch that and then you Google something or you YouTube it and you get put down a rabbit hole of different videos, etc. So a lot of that was fresh in my mind. And now you're right, with a dolly zoom, you're going to change the position of the camera as you change the zoom, and that's going to give that impression of, that famous kind of Jaws scene impression. And there are other things you can do to create that distance distortion. But the key thing is, to create those distance distortions, you have to get them to be very noticeable. You have to be using a deliberate. You have to be deliberately doing it. So, for example, you need either a wide camera lens for oh, bollocks, I forget which way around it is now, but you've got the wide camera, you've got the telescopic lens. I think the telescopic lens compresses the distance more. I might be wrong. I might have got those two the wrong way around. Okay, but it has to be something deliberate. Now, I'm not saying that, obviously we've got a scale. And if I've got a wide camera lens, a wide lens, sorry, and a telescopic lens, I'm not saying that normal lenses don't share some of those properties in between, but they're not going to be hugely noticeable properties. So you're kind of using science, which is correct. But to get those effects you're talking about, you're going to take it to the extreme and deliberately doing it. But also, when we're just looking at wide-angle lenses or telescopic lenses, what you're not ever getting is the change between a shorter object and a taller object in the background. You never get the shorter object in front growing taller than the one behind. You can make that effect if you're doing a dolly zoom, but that's only because you move the camera, and we know when you move towards something or away from something, you alter its height relative to the background, and you can block things out that way. So essentially, I know I spent a long time explaining that, but no, the physics of that cannot be used to explain why things get hidden bottom up, or why perspective somehow shows things being hidden bottom up. You don't change what's visible. You might change the perceived distance between them, but you're not actually changing the visible parts unless you're doing a dolly zoom and physically moving the camera, which obviously we'd expect to see something different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And no, you hit nails right on the head. And that was more to show that, I don't know whether you've watched this in your trail of that exact thing of looking down this, but Vsauce done a video on the moon illusion. Okay, the moon terminator illusion. What it is, and you'll know this anyway, is that when you look up at the moon, the actual shadow of the terminator doesn't directly point 90 degrees to the sun, to where the sun is. And this is a perspective illusion, because the sun is lighting up that half on the globe model. However, it's all the way set. So the distance means that it gives this illusion. Now, I went on my travels down that road, and I come across a NASA site, which is called the Summer Moon Illusion, which is talking about exactly the same thing. And I'm sure everyone's thing in their back of their minds is saying, Gleem, shut up, it's an illusion that is called the Ponzo illusion. I don't know whether you've heard of it. It's basically where you perceive... It's kind of similar to them rooms where you've got a big person and a little or it makes the room appear as if it's big on one side and little on the other. So it gives the optical illusion of depth. And it's similar to that. But if you get train tracks basically and put two circles, one further up the train tracks and one down below, they will appear to be different sizes because your brain is thinking that it's going in perspective, and the circle or your brain will make it appear as if it's smaller, but then you put them both together and they're identical size. Yeah, that is the Ponzo illusion. Now, NASA, in this very website, Summer Moon Illusion is called, they literally state, but that is in dispute because people need a reference object, and pilots actually experience the same thing. So pilots do not have any reference objects on the ground or clouds or anything that are not an actual reference object in order to create the illusion. And what they say, and I quote them, I think verbatim here, is they say, no one's resolved why this happens yet, but maybe it's because humans perceive the sky as a flattened dome. I kid you not. And that is through, in my mind, perspective. That is all caused by perspective. And this is aside from refraction, obviously.
And I think that I'd never heard. I'm sorry, another times. I'd never heard about this this distance in social, etc. Until I watched that program, and it's always good to learn something new. So if we had this debate just last week, I'd have been completely lost what to say. You know, so it's quite. But I have looked into it a lot this week, and you know, you are right that, and I'm certainly no photographer, that perspective can be distorted, etc. However, there is nothing in the physics whatsoever, and I'll just reiterate this because this is really what it boils down to. There is nothing in the physics whatsoever outside of a dolly zoom where you're physically moving the camera that's going to cause a short object closer to you to sort of outgrow or start to outgrow an object behind it. So I just kind of like want to end on that point. So you're right, you know, all these weird effects are fantastic, and it was dead interesting to start to learn about them, but they just can't be an explanation for why things disappear bottom up.
Okay, I mean, we're going to have to move on, aren't we, to refraction? But I'd really like to ask both MCToon one quick, very short question. For experiment,
You got 45 seconds.
I'm looking down. I'm looking down train tracks. I'm standing on them. I can see 100 train tracks. I can resolve them. I lay down on the train tracks. I can only resolve 10. Where did the other 90 disappear to? Why can't I see 100 laying down?
Yeah, they did not disappear. What happens is that they got too close together, and you cannot resolve the details. But with a better optical device, you can better resolve the details. They don't disappear. There's nothing about diffraction, the Rayleigh criterion, the vanishing point that actually makes things disappear. It makes them unresolvable. The details are not resolvable. So if you take a whole bunch of things that's multiple colors, get it down too small into essentially a pixel, if we're going to take a computer thing, then you get a merging of the colors. It's still there. A better resolution device can then resolve that.
Do you have evidence that that's the case?
Yeah, of course that's the case.
No,
That's
not
the
of course.
That's how the Rayleigh criterion works.
You made the claim, right? You made the claim that if you had an optical device, you could resolve the images that were not resolvable. Do you have a demonstration that that is true? Thank you.
I don't have one. I don't have one handy, but of course there are many.
Do you want a scientific paper?
No.
Do you want a scientific paper on the Rayleigh criterion?
No, not
to explain it.
I'm asking. No, listen very carefully. Toon did not refer to a paper. He simply made the statement that if you had an optical device, those railroad ties would become visible again. That's my question. For him to show a visible demonstration. That's all.
Well, can I chip in? I don't want to step on your toes there, MCToon. Do you want to?
I don't have anything handy. No, that's just how it works.
So I've got some scientific papers on that on the
so
presentation.
We can just make declarations and say that's how it works.
Hang on, sorry, Travis. Sorry, I was just speaking there, pal. I was just speaking. Sorry. Right. So I've got some scientific papers.
Right.
Here.
But the last thing.
Travis. The rest of us being. Can you just rein it in, please, Travis? Okay? Just rein it in, please, Travis, because the rest of us are acting like adults. Just rein it in, Travis. We're all acting like adults. So,
hang on.
I've got some scientific papers here. Is he still going on?
No, he's stopped.
Thank you. Right, thank you, Travis. Go ahead. So I've got some scientific papers here. I can present them when I'm doing my bit if you want later on. But essentially, the Rayleigh criterion we know is 1.22 lambda over d, d being the diameter of the lens that we're going to use. And where do we use that? In the real world, that you can do yourself all the time, is telescopes. You can take yourself a telescope with a small diameter and you can point it at two objects that you suddenly can't resolve. And you can take a telescope with a wider diameter and you can point at those same objects yourself and you will see that they are resolved. See, it's not a mystery. It's real world applied science that isn't a mystery. Okay, so yes, there are optical devices. They are called telescopes, binoculars, cameras. You open the aperture and you increase the resolution, because that's what we understand with science, and that's what works. Okay, hopefully that's answered your question.
No, that's just all rhetoric. I was asking for a visual verification. Thank you.
Yeah, with a telescope. Can you define visual? Can you define what you mean? Because when you say that, and I give you a real world example you can do with an optical device, and then you say you want a visual representation, define what you mean by that.
I mean, instead of using words, show me where someone has taken a picture from, say, 5 feet, and you can see farther in the distance railroad ties, and then he lowers it down and still has that same resolution because he has a camera and he sees the same railroad ties. I'm asking you.
I think we've, you know.
Excuse me.
I think the point was hit there, though. He changed his angle and elevation.
Hold on. Here's the deal. The change isn't the elevation. The change is one optical device with one aperture to another optical device with another aperture at the same elevation. So if you use your eyes with a rather small aperture, move to a camera with a bigger aperture, you'll be able to resolve the same detail at the same elevation. Move to another optical device like a telescope with an even bigger aperture, because the aperture is the key thing in the Rayleigh criterion. You'll be able to resolve more detail at that same elevation.
You've missed my point then, because I specifically said when you go down in elevation, you hide stuff. Basically creating a false horizon.
Yeah,
not from the bottom up.
Well, you can look up on YouTube, just type in GoPro on train tracks.
Hold on.
And
point of clarification. Okay, Catz, when Gleem made his statement about seeing the railroad ties from higher up and then lowering, he said nothing about it disappearing from the bottom up. That is a non sequitur.
Yeah, I know that, but we were talking might be why things appear to disappear from the bottom up. Is that the argument you were making?
It's more the angle. If you had a triangle from the center of your eyeball to the horizon, and creating that triangle, when you get an acuter angle to the horizon draws nearer to you. It's a false horizon regardless, yeah, an apparent horizon. But due to your limited angle of view to the surface that you're on, if you squashed your face right up to the floor, you'd only see a couple of 100 meters in front of you. If you stood up, you would see a lot more. And that's even if you had a camera. P900 on the floor, you would see less of the floor because there would be a false horizon nearer to you. And then you stand up with it, you see a lot more, like the Burj Khalifa, like a mini Burj Khalifa, where you can see a lot more of the land and then the sun appears back over it.
I think that on a non-flat floor, obviously the topography, if you're lying down on your own carpet or a workshop floor or wherever, the very local topography is therefore going to make a bigger difference. But in terms of losing detail through resolution, everything that's been said, about the aperture being able to bring back that resolution is absolutely bob on, absolutely bob on. But the thing is, it's something that we can try.
I presented that. I don't know why we went down that route, because I presented, if you can bring up slide 7 there, please, Jared, or whoever's got it.
Hold on. If I may, just to understand.
Sorry, we need to go into refraction.
Right, we're past the 20 minutes.
We are on that already. It's intermission time. Actually, I should. Why don't we do this? Because this is actually, the topic has already switched to refraction. Why don't we do this? I'll read some super chats. And then we'll prepare for the 2 10-minute things. Is that all good?
Yeah.
Can I have him prepare while you're doing that? That way I won't have to say it later on. Okay, so just real quick, you can play the video with no audio because my audio didn't work out in my editing, so I had to re-record. Okay, so you play the audio or you play the video on mute, and then my audio file start at the same time as the video, and then once the audio finishes at 10 minutes 30, that can be the the endpoint. Make sense?
Yep. So your audio track is separate, basically, and that's
Right,
the
but it runs-
that's the M4A. It runs concurrently, but it's separate. Got it.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get here. We got Bearded Devil 1864 for $5 says questions about the globe are not valid arguments for the flat Earth. Try again, Gleem. Then he comes back with for $5 again. Gleem provided zero evidence for his claims. Show us your practical demonstration validating your assertions, Gleem. And again, provided though proved still applies. Oh, he missed. Oh, prove. Yeah, Gleem provided zero evidence. He fixed his typo there. And one more time he says, does Gleem have anything other than a cartoon drawing? Hey, I like cartoons. Kind of in my name.
What?
Brenda.
That was maths.
That it was. Yeah. But I think his point is that you made some assertions about what happens, but didn't like show how the real world stuff. So we got to move on. We can't. Refraction is waiting for us. Brenda for $5 says, Gleem, the paper you cite is about the psychology of perception. And I think that's an important thing. What does this have to do with the real physical geometry of the Earth? Go ahead, Gleem, on that.
Because you're perceiving stuff through a camera lens as well, and then you're deducing the geometry from that without reverse engineering the distortions or the effects. In science, I thought when you're doing an observation or you're taking a measurement, you're supposed to take every account into effect, especially when you're indirectly measuring stuff, which Travis basically said earlier. So put it this way, I mean, you can calculate all you wish, but at the end of the day, perspective space is still perspective space in a camera. And to model it, I mean, I can give you a paper right now, 2020, it's perspective modeling by a NASA robotics engineer who literally says, look, at the end of the day, we cannot model perspective unless we know all the circumstances that are there. We can't get robots to detect stuff as good as we thought we can at long distances specifically. So next.
All right. But that doesn't move an object. It doesn't reposition it. Perspective doesn't reposition. All right. Sarcastic Barman for £5 says, how do you know when a vegetarian walks into a restaurant? Don't worry. They will tell you.
Nah, I'm not one of them. I feed my kids meat.
All right. Crafty Keela for €2 says, Bull wins, sending love and support to Toon and Catz. Thank you. Thank you, Crafty Keela.
Thank you.
How is Space Comma the Goat doing? We got Mr. Victory is a new member. Thank you very much. You can now use the fancy the Carlton dance emojis that I made. Let's see. We're almost there. Jessica G for $2 says Gleem wants to talk. She's taking a piss break. Gleem says 3 minutes in, zero evidence. I think, is she talking about me? Oh, no, I think she's talking about Gleem. I scrolled too far.
Yeah. I covered that. I told her I presented a science paper, maths.
Yeah. Gleem, show everyone your own demonstrations from Bearded Devil. Crafty Keela. She's putting you in timeout, Gleem. Gleem spoke too long. He's not allowed to speak again.
No way. I'm
sorry.
I thought we had to send you out in style.
I don't know. Kind of.
Yeah, she's calling your mom next. Bearded Devil again from the Wake.
She'll need a seance.
Width of the world. Please check this. On the Googly machine. From a wide wake to the width of the world. He's saying this is what to check out on Google. So. Oh my goodness, they keep.
Can I just counter Bearded? No, Bearded just said practical demonstrations. I've shown him directly that one cigarette packet can cover more than one in the distance. Exactly what Conspiracy Cat said couldn't happen. I've shown him it, demonstrated it in my whole way.
Well, you can if they're close enough. Yeah, sure, if they're close enough. And I think that was MCToon's sort of like presentation. It's all calculatable. It's predictable. We can predict how far that one packet should be compared to the others, so it will cover them up. It's a predictable science.
No, that maths wouldn't work. That maths wouldn't work.
I'd have to see the video you're on about then. I'd have to see the video you're on about because I'm.
Either way, we got loads of beef, and forget Bearded Devil because, I mean, he's got beef with both me and Travis through lies.
All right, the Snark says the Flurford tactics all over the place. Gleem, you lose. Yeah, it's a tough crowd, man. Tough crowd. Bearded Devil again says Gleem, show everyone your train track demo. So I think it's but he can't because Keela already said he can't talk anymore. Jessica G. Gleem showed some evidence of nothing again. Man, they are tough. Bearded Devil says Gleem says words present zero demonstrations. I would like to see what you're talking about. So all right, let's see. Sean Hawkins, I think this is for the Plain Truth, says bring on the magic show. Saeed Ahmed says, oh no, the Super Mario present the same boring intro video that presents in every debate. I don't know what that's about. Who's
That's
Super
got to be
Mario?
one of you.
Super Mario is who has the handlebar mustache here?
Luigi.
No. Of the four of us, who has the handlebar mustache?
All right. It's not me.
That's Travis.
Yeah, but I don't think the do the Mario Brothers have a handlebar? I don't think they do.
I don't know.
I don't think they do.
I think
They got
it's a
really-
distraction tactic.
They just got big bushy things under their lips. That's it.
Yeah.
The good versions do, but what about Wario and the alternate Luigi?
Ooh. Waluigi?
No, I know for a fact that
Got
Wario
it.
does not because I know for a fact that Wario does not because one Halloween my entire family dressed up as Mario characters and I was Wario and
He's
there
got
was
the zigzag.
Right, yeah. He's got the lamb chop sideburn stuff kind of going on.
Yeah, and the I got the pictures up. He's got the you could do this with your stuff. Get the zigzags on. All right, let's keep almost done here. Truth nerds, Gleem, you are your imaginary train tracks 10 degrees above true level, or are you massively deflecting again? Bendy Light says, Gleem, apply your perspective math to the truck image. It's a good. Do you disagree with the truck image?
No, I told you.
Okay.
I'll give you the maths there, showing the device limits, and it's for 1 meter off the ground. For a P1000, it's 20 kilometers, and you were doing a truck at a couple of meters. It's not proportional, especially for Black Swan or something like that.
All right, let's. We want to move on to the presentations here from on refraction.
Mm-hmm.
Jared. Yeah, Jared.
It's about that time. It's that time.
Abra, refraction, ether band man.
All right, who's starting?
Well, mine is all.
Choose.
Mine's all recorded, so whatever.
Well, let's go with that then.
So let me get this straight. I'm starting the
With Travis's.
I'm gonna put a title out there because I don't know what's Travis's and what's not at this point.
Oh,
I've got the Debate Mirage MP4, which is the video file.
Yes, that's mine.
Okay, and you wanted to start the new recording 75 as the audio track.
I don't think I labeled that one, but yes. So you're muting the video. Play the video on mute.
Right.
Play the audio consecutively.
Because of course I did it wrong. Because I did it on the I did it on the slideshow. So give me 1 second before I start this. So restart.
Okay. Just remember, if MCToon gives the head nod, take the stream down so you can have a quick conference call and figure it out.
Well, he'll have to nod to somebody else because I can't see him. I'm covered up with selection boxes here. So 20. New recording, add. Add. And then on completion, we will stop. We will pause. Alright, so that is ready, and I will start the timer as soon as I start that. Is that okay?
Yep, works for me.
Alright.
Well, while you listen to the sultry sound of my voice, you have some images that are going to be going across the screen. I just want you to think about what you're seeing and try to answer the question, what is creating the horizon? I have decided to just simply go with Wikipedia because the technicality of Andrew Thomas Young and Wikipedia are basically the same. So to save on time of going back and forth between blah, blah, I'm wasting time. A mirage is a naturally occurring optical phenomenon in which light rays bend via refraction to produce a displaced image of distant objects or the sky. The sky can be miraged. Think about that, please. Mirages can be categorized as inferior, meaning lower, so that the erect image is above the mirrored image. Superior, so that the erect image is below the mirrored image above. And Fata Morgana, which is one kind of superior mirage consisting of a series of unusually elaborate, vertically stacked images, which form one rapidly changing mirage. Again, all of these things need explained in more detail. An inferior mirage is one in which the mirage, I already said that. Inferior mirages are not stable. What does that mean? Does that mean they only last a few seconds and then they're gone, poof? What does that mean? They're not stable. What does that mean? What does that mean? Hot air rises. Cooler air, being more dense, descends. So the layers will mix. What? So the layers will, so then there's a uniform layer of mixed air, hot air and cool. Wait a minute. I thought the dense air was at the bottom, the hot air was above, but these layers are mixing now? So that's interesting. Giving rise to turbulence. The image will be distorted accordingly. It may be vibrating. It may be vertically extended, towering. It may be horizontally extended, stooping. If there are several temperature layers, and how, pray tell, have you determined that there are several? Several mirages may mix, perhaps causing double images. Double vision! In any case, mirages are not larger than about half a degree high. That would be an interesting study right there. Anybody want to start a GoFundMe to do this? Because this shit needs rewritten. A superior mirage occurs when the air below the line of sight is colder than the air above it. Again, if you're looking over miles and miles and miles, how do you know it's uniform? This unusual arrangement is called a temperature inversion. But if it's all mixing together, how is there an inversion? Since warm air above cold air is the opposite of it, how do you know that this is what they do not know, that this is what's going on? They do not know. Superior mirages are quite common in polar regions. Oh, but I caught one on the Anacapa Islands, especially over large sheets of ice. No ice in the Anacapa Islands. Superior mirages may also occur at moderate latitudes. Oh, so they can occur anywhere. Got it. Fata Morgana mirages are most commonly seen in polar regions, especially over, this sounds like a superior mirage definition. But they can be observed almost anywhere. This is doublespeak, blah. A negative and a positive cancel each other out. This has no meaning. In polar regions, Fata Morganas may be observed on cold days. In deserts and oceans and lakes, it may be observed on hot days. Any climate. This has no meaning. No meaning whatsoever. All right, mirages are phenomena of atmospheric refraction. Ether band. So, all right, so while you listen to the sultry sound of my voice, you have some images that are an inferior mirage because the images below the real object is produced by a layer of abnormally. What does that even mean, abnormally? Nature is normal. Abnormally warm air heated by the sea and beneath cooler air layers. Light passing at low angles across the layers is refracted so that the rays coming from the tops of the buildings appear to be coming upwards from the horizon. We don't see this. You don't see this. You just see the image. Our brain interprets that as a reflection from water. Yeah, Pete Shea, yes, it does. Okay, I was going to say it doesn't, but that's because I know better. There's more. There's more. The horizon is missing, and the base of buildings and low-lying land cannot be seen either below or above the line joining the real view and the mirage. This is a vanishing line effect. This is what I say. You just had it here right here from atoptics.co.uk. The mirage is the obstruction, people. Boats do not go over a curve. They go into the distance over water. When you lose sight, or when that image is distorted by refraction, it is due 100% to the aether band, which is the cause for all of the refractive effects that we would call mirages or anything else that has yet to be classified, which is my claim. We have unclassified refractive effects that are misinterpreted as Earth curve. The Earth does not curve. Boats are always obstructed 100% by the effects of the aether band. Everybody drink.
Had myself a drink here.
Go Team Ether Band. Woo!
I tell you that Ether Band, they don't do any concerts ever. I don't know.
They do in his car. You've got to look up the.
Yeah. I've got a playlist. I've got a playlist of all my parodies for flat smacking.
Is it on Spotify?
I've thought about that. No, I'd have to do a little bit better on the editing for that. Nope, not yet.
All right, move on, huh? So it's time.
Go ahead. We can reset the timer and let Catz have at it.
Okay, I'm going to be flying through these slides pretty quick, so if you can have your finger over that button. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get. Are we ready? Say when. When you got the first slide up.
As soon
as the first slide up? I can't see it.
Well, no, it'll come up as soon as I go. So as soon as you see it, go.
Okay, it's not there yet. Oh, it's there. Okay, so this is how we use refraction when we're in the school. You know, we use simple equations like this because we can model refraction and we can make predictions about it. Refraction isn't a mystery to anybody. Next slide, please. You know, we've seen it in liquids. Next slide, please. We've seen it in solids like this glass ball mixed in a bit of total internal reflection as well. Next slide, please. We've seen it in solids like this. All very predictable. If we know the refractive index of the glass, we can figure out how much refraction is going to occur. Next slide, please. We can even look at the effects of temperature in the air by setting up a simple experiment like this and then applying heat into the room and seeing how that laser moves, all right? Or putting a heat source underneath, how it moves on the graph paper. So we've all seen it plenty of times. Next, skip that one. Go to time-lapse refraction. We know that when we look towards the horizon, the amount of atmosphere that we're looking through becomes greater. The effects of refraction become greater because of it, which Gleem was talking about before when he was talking about the sunset actually being beyond the horizon when it appears like it's not, etc. And we can see from these star trails that effect of refraction does become greater. But the thing that I think we can all agree on that. But the thing that Flat Earth can't do, and we didn't see in that presentation from Travis Thur, is what's on the next slide. And that is paper after paper after paper after paper after paper showing us that science understands refraction. It is not a mystery. Okay, there is no mystery about refraction. There is no confusion where we should look out at the water and suddenly be confused and think there's a magical ether band that's eating the bottom of windmills, okay, or lighthouses. Here's a paper here looking at how we can monitor the refractive coefficient in the atmosphere over time, in real time. Okay, in real time, scientific study there. Next slide, please. We have another slide here where we can use an interferometer to look at the refractive index of the air as it's heated around a candle. Interferometers are fantastic tools, and in fact, we're going to the next slide, please. Another interferometer study here where we are actually using interferometers to measure temperature, to actually use our understanding of refraction to get real world data to measure temperature in sensitive scientific experiments. Next slide, please. And here's another one. And I could have gone on and on and on and on, again, using interferometers because they interfere with the experiment a little bit less than like thermocouples or whatever. So again, another one where we're measuring air temperature using refraction and an interferometer. We can go on to the next slide, please. And another one, and I could go on and on and on. And Flat Earth can offer no understanding whatsoever, no studies of the so-called ether band or compression. They show no understanding whatsoever of how refraction works. But obviously the scientific community's got this pretty much sussed. If we go on to the next slide, oh, look, there's another paper. I've got them coming out my ears. We'll just skip that. And the next one, it's another paper looking at how we get around the effects of refraction, or how we planning how we can create accurate maps using satellites and images from space, but still get around refraction. These problems, this is from 1968. It's been studied for a long time. We'll skip on just two more, please, to the spectrum. We know that different colors of light refract different amounts because of the wavelength, and this is predictable. We can model it. I guess what I'm saying is we totally understand refraction. Now, Travis in his presentation brought up mirages. Can I have slide 17, please? This is what a mirage looks like. Next slide, please. This is what a mirage looks like. Next slide, please. This is what a mirage looks like. All perfectly well understood science, by the way. Yeah, we know, because we know refraction. Next slide, please. This is what another mirage looks like. Next slide, please. This is what a mirage looks like. And if we go on to the next slide, we've got scientific papers where people are studying, whole sciences, and we've got people out there applying the knowledge of refraction to study mirages. Next slide. Here's another one on the Arctic mirage. So we understand mirages, okay? If we can skip on to slide 25. Now, having said that we understand what a mirage looks like, this is not a mirage, okay? This, and if you can go back to slide 20, please, right? Does not look like that, right? That, and back to slide 25, are completely different things. Can we go on to slide 27, please? This is Ranti's famous boat, as it's slide 27, yeah, as it's going over the horizon, right? That is not what we've seen with mirages, okay? Now, yes, mirages happen. We understand it. Science and the world of science understands how mirages are made. Flat earthers have to deny, right, that there is a curve of the earth. So when they look at something like this, which is clearly not a mirage hiding in the bottom of a boat, how can anybody look at that and with a straight face expect anyone to believe that there's a mirage there hiding in the bottom of that boat? Only two things are possible here. Number one is that the entirety of physics, all the thousands of people studying light and refraction and modeling it and using it to make equipment like telescopes and microscopes and to do surveys, long-range photography, corrections for refraction when we're looking at making lenses and corneal transplants, all those people, right? Either they don't know what they're talking about and they've all made a mistake, And flat earthers are in line to win the next Nobel Prize because they've debunked all of science by just refusing to see the obvious that's in front of them. Either that's true, or this isn't a mirage and it's a boat going over the horizon. Now, I know which one I think. There is no, in that presentation there were no studies whatsoever explaining how half a boat or half a windmill can be hidden inside a mirage, because it's made up and it doesn't exist. In your presentation, there were no studies about how half a mountain in the distance or a whole set of mountains can be hidden behind a mirage, because it's made up and it doesn't exist. Look at slide 27, and then can we bob back to slide 19? Look at slide 19 when it's there. And tell me that you are seeing a mirage, the same effect in both of these images. That is what a mirage looks like. We understand that physics. Back to slide 27. This is something altogether. Now, after we've done these presentations, if you can't tell me the physics of how an entire half bottom of a boat gets hidden in, God, if there is even a mirage there, I can't even believe I'm having this conversation. How on earth can half a boat be hidden by a mirage that we can't even see? How is that even possible? It is ludicrous, but it's the only option flat earthers have left, and it's the only option they have left because the obvious truth staring them in the face is that we understand how optics work, we understand how refraction works, we understand how light works, and that is half a boat hidden by the curvature of the earth. That is it. So I've presented lots of scientific papers here. Unless someone can come back and give me some actual scientific explanation for what's going on, I am just totally going to dismiss it right out of hand because it is plain ridiculous. Now, let's go on a little bit further. Can we go to slide... let's talk about refraction a little bit more. Let's go to the black swan. If we can look at slide 24. So here's the black swan that we've got on the left-hand side, and I'm not saying either of you to accept the black swan as evidence. But I just want to have a little stab at this whole angle of attack compression nonsense that Nathan Oakley and Ranty have been pushing for a while, because we do understand how refraction works. Now, certain components of the proponents, of the flat Earth theory will say that as something goes into the distance, something called compression will make it disappear bottom up. But then, in the same breath, they'll choose a photograph like the black swan, which we see on the left, that shows literally zero compression whatsoever. So flat earthers, in their own desperation to try and create something to keep this perpetual nonsense going, are even contradicting themselves. All right. Now that is a fantastic example of refraction, and we can explain exactly how that works. What else have I got here? If we move on to, I want to stick on refraction. So we go to slide 29, please.
Sorry, you broke up there. What number?
Sorry,
39?
29.
29. Okay.
So this is Ranty's boat while Ranty's boat is going over the horizon, or being hidden by a completely invisible mirage that no one can see, that's so thin that it's able to hide the whole bottom half of wind turbines, whichever way you want to look at it. But when we look at the rest of the wind turbines, these two red lines, you can have the PowerPoint, I'll send it you. These two red lines on here are exactly the same length. They represent the length of the blade on the first wind turbine, and we can see it's bigger than the length of the blade on the second wind turbine. If we can go to the next slide, please. We can see that the turbine in the distance, because of perspective, is obviously smaller, but it's not that much smaller. But look at the height that we've actually lost. Can I go on to the next slide, please? If we go on to the next slide, look at, we've lost over half the height. How is this magic physics that nobody can explain, nobody's ever described, modeled, made up, written a paper on, had any maths applied to it, had any understanding of it whatsoever, other than just saying there's some kind of weird band that hides stuff? How can that possibly explain why half a wind turbine gets hidden, over half wind turbine gets hidden under the water, while we have a completely different effect on the blades of the wind turbine? And that's my 10 minutes.
Spot on again. And if nothing else, the Globers win for punctuality.
That's it. The timing was awesome.
All right. So, do we want to?
There's plenty else that was.
All right,
Go ahead.
for the sake of brevity and getting back onto track time-wise, let's set a 15-minute timer.
Mm-hmm.
And who would like to ask the first question of the other?
That would be.
I'd like to just ask one. Oh, go on, let Travis go.
No,
Right.
go ahead. You
Go
just
ahead.
want to ask one. I've got a whole list. Go ahead.
Okay, well, it is just one, and that is given the fact that, you know, I've shown how thoroughly well refraction is understood and optics are understood, and how they thoroughly explain everything we see. Have you got any scientific paper that is peer-reviewed, or have you got any scientific explanation of how these mirages that we can't see on a perfectly defined horizon happen to hide the bottom, let's say, of a boat or a boat completely? Have you got any kind of explanation or scientific paper? Simple yes or
Okay,
no.
so I believe that. Actually, it's not a simple yes or no, because my first question to you will negate your question to me. Are you ready?
So
How about you answer the question, Travis?
Okay, his question is irrelevant because it is a straw man. My question to you, Catz,
so it's a no then.
is
It-
no.
it-
Right, so I'm just writing down your answer, and it was no. I'm just
Answer
writing
the
down your
question.
answer, and your answer is no.
No.
And it takes me a while to write that
It's
down.
okay.
So
It's okay,
N-O,
gentlemen. It's okay.
no.
It's okay, gentlemen. It's okay. Okay. Conspiracy Catz. Can you
Yes,
point
sir.
to anywhere in my presentation that I made the claim that refraction is not understood? Did I make that claim? Yes or no, please?
Yeah, I think you indirectly made the claim.
No,
You
no.
didn't
Yes
come out with
or
the
no.
word.
Did I make the claim? No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, in that
Did
case,
I-
yes, you did. Yes, if you
No,
just
I
want
did
one word
not.
and you don't want to explain
No,
why, then
I
yes,
did
yes, you
not.
did.
Okay.
And you
No,
made the claim.
I
I'll tell
did
you what, I'll
not.
expand on my answer. And the reason you made the claim
No,
was
I would
because
like
when
you to
were
produce
describing how
evidence. I would
refraction
like you
works,
to produce evidence.
because
in
when
this
you were
debate where
describing how
I
refraction
claim
works, what you
that
did is you
refraction is not
misidentified how
understood.
refraction works.
Travis?
You misstated
Travis?
how refraction works.
Travis,
So what
if
you
you
did there,
want
Travis,
an answer, you need to listen. In order to listen, you need to stop
thank you,
talking.
MCToon. Thank you.
This is not
MCToon. Thank you.
MCToon. This is not MCToon. And if you would like, you can get the fuck out now. Sorry, MCToon.
so the answer I was going to give there, Travis, was that, you know, and you didn't come out with the words refraction isn't understood, but the way you
Then I didn't say
portrayed
it.
refraction, the way you
Okay, listen to me.
portrayed
I
refraction,
deny
the way you
that.
portrayed,
I
so like
deny
I've still got
that.
words left. So the way that you portrayed refraction was wrong, therefore leading me to believe that you didn't
Great.
understand it, or
How did I
leading me to
portray?
believe, or lead.
Right.
You portrayed refraction as
You're
being
making
something
claims
that
right
could
now.
create.
You're okay.
I tell you what, Travis. What's happening is you're asking me a question
I'll
and
tell
then
you
you're not
what.
letting me answer.
I'll tell you what.
So the rest of us are acting like
You've
I'm going to
answered the
finish my
question
answer.
already.
I'm going to finish my answer and then I'm going to let you finish. But
keep
I'm
going
not
then.
going to let you just railroad me and talk and talk and talk.
Yeah.
That's
Keep
not how
going.
we operate
Go
as
ahead,
adults.
keep
I will
going.
give you my answer. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. We'll get through this a lot quicker if we just don't interrupt each other. But essentially, you did, in my opinion, give the impression that refraction isn't properly understood because you made the claim that refraction somehow hides things from the bottom up or distorts a horizon in a way to make it appear that we have a horizon and a curve. And if you're making that implication, then you are not representing refraction as we understand it. So therefore, that's why I made that point. Off you go.
Okay, great. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to pull up the website that I have here. Hopefully it's still here. Crack a smurf. I referred to it in my reading, okay? So I did refer to the atooptics.co.uk, okay? In that article on mirages, it clearly states that the vanishing line creates an obstruction so that the sky, the horizon, and any object behind it is obstructed by the mirage. That is my claim, okay? So I have now just thoroughly denied the fact that I said anything along the lines that refraction is misunderstood. That is not my claim. If you paid attention to any of my streams or any of my presentations, I have actually made that statement on my show. That is not my claim. My claim is not that refraction is not misunderstood. So that means you don't know what my claim is. Now, secondly, Straw man number 2 and 3. Nathan Oakley and Ranty are not here. I am. I have hundreds of hours of footage. You could have asked for any of my footage, and I could have provided something like this. I'm sorry, I don't know who the host is to pull up the images, but if you want to go to the photographs that I have one that says, same location, height, distance, where did the platform go?
And while Bull is pulling that up, bit of constructive criticism here, Travis. When even the audience is misunderstanding your message, you should consider reframing how you are conveying your message.
None of my audience misunderstands me. My audience knows exactly what
I was watching the chat, and when you said that Catz was misrepresenting what you said, everyone in the chat said, no, that's what we took from it too. So it's not just a problem with Catz.
Okay, that is
a bit of criticism.
Straw man. Listen up real quick. That's a straw man because I said everyone in my audience.
I said the audience. You are straw
manning
me now.
I just want to confirm something from the notes I'm making, and that is that, just so I can pick it up later on, when I asked you, did you have any scientific papers or evidence about your assertions, the answer was no, wasn't it? I just need to make sure I wrote that down properly. You've got no scientific evidence, explanation, or papers, yeah?
Correct. I'm the source for this information.
Thank you, yeah.
So
okay,
yes.
crack on.
Yep, crack on.
Crack on, yeah.
You got my image pulled up, please?
Okay, so it's titled, Can You Spot the Differences? Is that the one you want?
Okay.
Because all your pictures are literally IMG. How about you shut up for a second and let me explain to you what I have in front of me so that you can point me to the right picture instead of wasting my time trying to identify what I can't see. I have a bunch of named pictures, IMG underscore blah, 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 blah number. So if you could tell me kindly what number you want, sir, that would be fantastic.
Okay, I sent these from my phone, so I have the metadata right now. So can you not see them in image form, like in a thumbnail? You can't see them in a thumbnail?
Absolutely. I need you to, if you're going to go that route, they are all very similar looking pictures, so you're going to have to be really specific.
Text. Okay, they are, okay. I would like you to now prove that all of these are very similar pictures. I'm not going to do that because it'd be a waste of time.
Fuck off, Travis. I'm about to hang up on you out of principle.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. No, you rage quit. How about I rage kick your ass? Because I'm fucking tired of this. This is you're about as
ready?
You're.
Okay, listen very carefully.
They all have two halves. Don't talk down to me, then, fucker.
I read you the text. You ready? The text.
Some of them even have the same. Some of them even have the same text. So continue.
Okay. It says same location, height, distance. Where did the platforms go? It's a 2-panel.
Yeah, and I got 2 copies of it. So let me just pull up the best one.
That's 4207, I think.
Thank you. Don't fucking treat your presenter like shit, dude. That's pretty shitty.
All right, there it is.
Okay. So is this a black swan?
It's up. Now you're not talking at all. Go.
Is he still in?
I have no idea. Let me check. He appears to actually, I believe. I'm not getting a damn thing from him. He must have actually rage quit.
Yeah.
Gleem.
Sorry.
Gleem, can you pick up the? Or we want to move
Gleem,
on?
Gleem, I will give you credit for actually being civil and behaving yourself throughout all the interchanges, unlike someone else who has been here.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Either way, what his point was in that photo was that he's at the same height, which is about I think it's 16 foot off the water. There's different ones, put it this way, where he's shown the same effect, same height, different days, but the horizon is covering one of the platforms on one day. The next day he goes back to the same spot, sets up the same place, and the horizon is lower and revealing it. So he's basically saying on a day-to-day basis the horizon is moving, blocking, revealing, blocking, revealing with refraction. That he is in support of refraction. However, obviously, from his point of view, being a flat earther, he cannot follow the standard refraction, then add in curvature, if you understand that. So the reason why he calls it an ether band is to separate and distance himself from the global known actual refraction, which is known to all. He's a keen promoter of that.
If I can say
I'm sorry, my phone dropped and I could not get back on until just now. I apologize.
Good job. I've had some stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
So what was
Okay, so can I go back now?
Photograph?
So do you want to put up the picture and then reiterate?
Yeah, that photograph that you're looking at is very similar to what you would consider an example of what happens to the wind turbines that gets cut off, okay? It took me a while to see it, but not only is the water raised up as an apparent position, but there is also an inferior mirage at the horizon with the oil platform. I am not making the claim that that inferior mirage is hiding the entire oil platform, but it is an aspect of the variable. Just like in that ship that you showed a picture of, where you had the wind turbines with that ship, above the horizon on that ship, there is an inferior mirage. What you need to understand, because I made this claim in my presentation, was this: there are misidentified, misunderstood, and non-classified effects of refraction that need to be reconsidered, okay? So simply because you have incredulity at certain claims that I make doesn't mean that my claims are invalid, okay? So you've committed false dilemmas in your statement, okay? Either ors, and you have also committed fallacies of incredulity.
So when you say there were things about refraction that need to be corrected, that refers back to the very first point I made, that you said we don't understand refraction.
Incorrect. I'm talking about mirage.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the mechanics of refraction. I am not talking about the mechanics of refraction. Okay, listen very carefully.
The mechanics of a mirage are refraction, aren't they?
Okay, listen very carefully, please.
I'll be quiet.
My claim is not about the cause of the mirage. That is not what my claim is. My claim is about what the mirage does to the observation. Those are two entirely different claims, which is why I said you had a false dilemma, okay? You don't understand my claim.
So can I clarify your claim just to make sure? You are saying that these mirages then have optical effects that are poorly understood. Is that your claim?
That is not the way I would put it. No. How about this? Can I ask you a question and maybe that'll clarify it?
Okay.
Okay. Does the scientific community offer up an alternative to the Earth curve obscuring boats, islands, oil platforms?
Well, hundreds of years, or centuries ago.
It's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question.
Oh, so no, they've all been ruled out.
Okay. How did they eliminate those alternatives? And where's the citation that I can look up and see that?
Okay. Well, first of all, those alternatives have to be sort of named. You know, so if you give me one of the alternatives, I will tell you how that was ruled out. If you can give me one of the alternatives, I'll tell you how it was ruled out.
No.
And there we go. And that's why the Earth isn't flat.
No. This is not my burden. This is not my burden. I'm asking you, and you said hundreds of years ago they had alternatives that they were ruled out. So you made the claim. How about you name one of those alternatives?
Okay, the alternative would have been that the Earth was flat and we didn't understand optics. But since then, we've proved that the Earth isn't flat and we do understand optics, and that's the only one I could have thought of. So unless you can name any others, then your own argument seems to be backfiring on you.
Okay, well, I would consider that insufficient data. So let me ask you the next question.
Okay.
How has science eliminated refraction as a cause for the obstruction of objects over distance?
Because, like I showed with all the scientific papers, peer-reviewed papers that Flat Earth can't produce, the ones about mirages, the ones about refraction.
Stop giving rhetoric. Answer the question. That's rhetoric.
What they have done is they've developed an extremely good understanding of what refraction is, and refraction is the bent of light.
Don't tell me what they did. That is not my question.
But you asked me to tell you what they did.
He's not answering the question. Objection.
You asked me.
Travis?
No. I said no.
Travis, Catz, hang on. Travis, your question was, how did they rule this stuff out?
Eliminate. How did they eliminate?
How did they rule it out was your actual original question, and that's what Catz was trying to answer. You don't like the answer, that's fine. But if you don't like the answer, that doesn't mean he's not answering the question.
He hasn't even given the answer yet. He hasn't given the answer.
Yes,
I will give you the answer right now.
Then don't interrupt him, and he will complete the answer.
So to ask me how did they eliminate the alternatives, right? Then you have to have alternatives, and I've said the fact, the alternatives would have been thousands of years ago.
Oh my God!
So
I have the alternative. My claim is the alternative. You are completely obfuscating. Objection! This is obfuscation.
I can't finish my sentence. Travis, you are hilarious. You are making me laugh so hard. I'm so sorry, Travis. I teach kids up to 16-year-old, and I get more of a proper conversation out of them.
I feel for them. I feel for them.
Like a complete pleb. I mean, and that's not an insult. But seriously, just ask a question, listen to the answer. We'll behave like adults. We'll have a good chat.
You're not answering the question.
You're
not answering the question.
Travis, I will say it again.
I love you. Can I keep you?
Yeah, Travis, I will say it again. Just because you don't like the answer he is giving does not mean he is not answering the question.
No, I did not say I
can
don't
tell
like the
by
answer.
your behavior,
I said
child.
He is not.
I can tell by your behavior, child. I am the moderator here. I am judging this, and yes, he is trying to answer your question. You keep interrupting him by making the claim that he is not.
By the way, Jared, I did mute him for you so you could finish, Mr. Moderator.
You're ad-homing me.
By calling you child? That's how you're behaving.
Yeah. I am not behaving like a child. A child would not know how to argue this fashion. Catz is not answering my question.
Dave, mute him again for a second, please.
I will answer your question. Okay, I will answer your question.
Catz, one quick second. I just need to point this out. When Travis was quiet, all of the discussion and everything was civil, was even-toned, was absolutely civil by definition. Travis, you have piped up, and you have been agitated, you have been irritated, and you have been making things combative. That is the actions of a childish mind. Look in the mirror and grow up.
For the ad-hom, I'm going to ask the...
Go on, ask the question and I'll answer it.
Community. Does the scientific community have any record that they considered alternatives to the Earth curve obscuring boats, islands, or platforms?
Do they have a record of taking it seriously? Right now, to answer that question, I'm going to need. Can you give me 30
fucking
seconds?
A, man. That's not the question I asked.
Travis, I love you, man. I love you. You are brilliant, Travis. Can you give me 30 seconds?
That's not the question I asked.
Travis, you are brilliant. You are absolutely brilliant. And
Yeah,
and I
you're an
really
idiot. You
appreciate your
cannot answer
scientific
a direct
input.
question.
I really appreciate your scientific input to this conversation.
Don't
I would
answer
like
the
to answer
question
your
I'm not
question,
asking.
and I would like to answer it honestly. I really would like to honestly answer your question, sir, because it's a very valid question that has a lot of scientific validity to it, and I think I'm the man for the job. So can you give me 30 seconds to answer it?
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Right. So when we talk about alternatives, the way science works is it eliminates lots of alternatives. And when people used to think the Earth was flat, for example, lots of alternatives were eliminated. Then it's okay. I'll keep going on anyway, sir. So lots of alternatives were eliminated.
On, all right.
Until there were none left.
This is word salad rhetoric, man. You're not answering the question. You are not answering the question. Objection, Your Honor.
Until there were no
Failure to
alternatives
answer
left.
the question.
Now, what I was going to say is, if you can provide me with some alternatives, then I can tell you how science has eliminated them. But the fact that it's your question, and this is the thing,
objection, Your
give me
Honor,
20 seconds, I'll shut up. Give me 20 seconds, I'll shut up.
Reversing the burden,
The
Your
fact
Honor.
that you're asking, give me 20 seconds, I'll shut up. The fact that you're asking me, have we eliminated alternatives, but you yourself can't even tell me what those alternatives are, shows that it's a pretty dumb question and that you haven't got any understanding of what you are talking about. So give me some of those alternatives and I'll tell you how they've been eliminated. But if you can't even do it and it's your question, and you can't even give me any alternatives, so give me some and I'll tell you.
Hey, Gleem, are you there, mate?
I am.
How many alternatives do I have for the? How many alternatives do I have for this gentleman?
We don't know because you won't tell us.
Conspiracy Catz, I was not talking to you.
Catz, stop.
Sorry, sir. I'll put myself on mute.
Yep, you alone have got hundreds, defying what would normally happen. Yes. However, there are two other things which would answer his question in a scientific term. One would be sinking, which if you go back to the sort of like 150 after Christ, it's literally Strabo who said that the sinking effect was never attributed to refraction. It was always just the curve of the Earth. Sorry, never attributed to the curve of the Earth. It was always just thought of as refraction.
All right, so I want to make sure I understood you correctly, Gleem. You are saying that Travis has hundreds of potential alternate explanations for what's going on. That's what Catz was asking for. What alternative would you like answered and addressed? And so on that subject, you are saying that Travis has hundreds of them.
Yeah,
yes?
I didn't want to. I did not. Hold on, I'm sorry. I need to clarify, Gleem. I didn't ask for demonstrations or examples. I have one claim, Gleem. I have one claim. So how many alternatives, or what is my alternative that I present to the interpretation that the Earth curve is obstructing boats, islands, platforms? What's my claim?
It is literally refraction minus Earth curve, which is rebranded as ether band, as I understand it.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's fine. That's fine. But a simpler way of saying this, gentlemen, is the effects of refraction categorized as mirage, either inferior, superior, fata morgana, or any other misidentified, misunderstood, or not yet classified effects of refraction, are the single cause for the obstruction of objects over distance, either aquatic or terrestrial. Okay, that does not mean that the mechanics of the refraction are called into question. Again, I'm not calling into question what creates a mirage. That has nothing to do with my claim. The mirage is already there. Why can I not see that object the same way I did yesterday? Refraction is the only answer. Okay? So, again, my question goes back to you. How has science eliminated mirage as the cause for the obstruction of objects viewed over distance, either aquatic or terrestrial, be it lighthouse, boat, oil platform, island, buildings, wind turbines.
Can I have slide 25 up, please? In fact, no, we'll go back to Ranty's boat. Can I have slide 27, please? Now,
sorry. Who said that? Who said that? Was that you?
That was Catz.
That was me. So, yeah, slide 27, please.
27.
So,
okay, because I got 4 of these things going right now, so that's why it's a little bit.
How has science? Well, the way you're asking that question implies that you think that the governing, the governing bodies of all the scientific industries, across the globe should look at a picture like that, where there is clearly no massive mirage that's hiding the bottom of a boat, and then do huge studies to satisfy flat earthers that think a mirage is hiding the bottom of that boat.
Okay, there is no reason. No. Your dialogue right now. Your dialogue right now.
We understand it and how it works, and that's how we've ruled it out. We've ruled it out by showing how it works, by showing how we understand refraction. I asked you at the very beginning, and I said in my little 10-minute presentation, I wouldn't take anything other than proper scientific explanation and scientific papers to sway me at all. And all you've said is mirages hide the bottom of things. You've not given an explanation. You've not given a paper. You've not said even basic terms how it works. You've just said, in my opinion, mirages hide the bottom of things.
No, I did not. No, again, that's a straw man. You are committing fallacy after fallacy, Catz. That is a straw man. I did not say in my opinion.
Is that what you said?
I referred you. Hold on. I referred you to a website that I can pull up in a moment, where it says that the vanishing line, where the mirage begins, is the cause for why you cannot see the sky, the horizon, or the bottoms of the objects that are in the mirage. So I did not give it as my opinion, sir.
So what about when the mirage is not?
Sorry, go on.
So what about in an image like what Catz showed, where you still see the sky, you still see the object, you still see everything except a mirage?
That is another example that is not where you have an inferior mirage that has the same. It's all about the degree of angle as well. So, Catz, if you want to pull back up that image, I can talk you through how I understand it. It's very simple. I actually did a response to Jenna Fredo's. Video on the CN Tower that has the same that the water does here. So I'm using it as an analogy. Okay.
I shall not interrupt. I'll go on mute.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And again, I know that I know. I apologize, gentlemen. I apologize. I've gone over the top. Okay. Please forgive. Pardon. I can. Thank you. I can discern from the appearance of this water that there is a refractive effect that I am calling, gentlemen, okay? Again, I haven't written a paper on this, okay? That is what I call proximate looming. Proximate looming, as opposed to the looming that happens in the other model past the horizon. In the other model, looming brings up the distant horizon that you couldn't see before and makes it visible. I'm not talking about that looming, but it's the same effect. Just like I asked the past couple of days on Jose's channel, I asked 2 representatives of your side. I said, in your opinion, is the Joshua Nowicki Chicago skyline visible only because of looming? They both said yes. I said, okay, great. All I want you to consider is the possibility that that same effect of refraction, bringing something up from beyond the horizon, is creating a false horizon in proximity. That is, it is raising it up. Okay, now I've actually gone over this on my show. So, just do your research. Okay. Secondly,
yeah,
that ship there is in an inferior mirage. Okay?
Okay.
That inferior mirage, where the fold line is, if you can see to the left of the boat, I don't know what that image is to the left of the boat, but it's a mirror image. Cut it in half.
Halfway through.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. If you watch Ranty's video, I agree. He has got a mirage there, which goes up to there, but he zoomed in on this, or Catz has.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's fine. But part of the diagnosis, gentlemen, is this: that mirage is not vertical. That mirage is the image that we're looking at is three-dimensional: height, width, and depth. That mirage is along the depth axis. Okay? So
I understand
what
your point now. I understand what you're saying.
Okay, great. So I asked the audience and all of you guys when you were watching the video at the beginning, what is your opinion of what creates the horizon? In my assessment, the horizon in these instances is created by refraction. It is a false horizon. This horizon here is a false horizon. We can't know anything about this. We cannot make any determination on Earth curve unless you know where that horizon is. And the only way to do that is to put somebody in a boat and get them out there when this event is happening.
Good. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brilliant. Thank you. Please don't interrupt the question, okay? Because you probably see what's going. I will ask it and then I'll shut up. Okay. So you've just told me that you said it was your assessment. Yeah, your assessment was this is what's causing the bottom of these boats to vanish. Okay. Now, given the fact that I've shown you countless scientific papers that study refraction, showing you how well we understand refraction, can I ask just two things very quickly? Number one, how is it that you, who have, you're not actively involved in physics or anything like that, how is it that you have discovered something that all the scientists and the physicists that work with optics in the world haven't even considered in the past? Like, how is it you've managed to make that breakthrough discovery? And number two, you say you haven't written a scientific paper. Given the fact that you have made such an important discovery and you're asserting that this is the case, why wouldn't you write a scientific paper on it and put the explanations in there so you can then start to make a difference? That's my question.
Yeah, yep, great. I appreciate those two questions. I'll try to be as succinct as possible. Your first question is a question of incredulity. Okay? You believe that science is a settled matter, dogmatic, no questions, ifs, ands, or buts. No one has forgotten to cross the T. No one has forgotten to dot the I. Let me tell you, in my religious background, which I have now abandoned, when I began to question the establishment, they said the same thing to me. Who are you to question the establishment, which is what you just did, okay? So you, sir, are a dogmatic scientific priest, okay? I am questioning science, yes. I am offering things up in a peaceful manner. I am offering things up in a peaceful manner. I do not get any amicable interaction. I get hand-waved dismissals. I get called a lunatic. I get called arrogant, all of the names, okay? No one is interested from your side in actually learning about this. Secondly, if someone were to want to rewrite those books, I have a simple question for you. Do you think someone who works 14 hours a day, sleeps 6 hours a day, would have enough time to go and investigate and research the mechanics of all of this data? How much research do you think it would take for one person to identify?
Exactly. I think research is extremely important. Yeah, you're right. I think research is extremely important.
My question was not how important it was. I said, how much do you think
loads
it's
of time.
Easy task? Yeah, loads. Right.
No,
right.
And guess what? I think it would be insulting if somebody just like skipped all the research part and just made any old shit up. I think that would be the insulting part.
No. So, you are casting aspersions, sir. No. There is no. Okay, that's what pushes my buttons. That's what pushes my buttons. Making shit up. But you do not have an open mind. You are not willing to listen to the evidence that I have garnered. I have garnered evidence.
But Travis, he was actually agreeing with you that it does take a lot of time.
He said I was making shit up. No.
Dave, mute. Travis, he did not say that. He said that, yes, putting in the effort to research, to do the work and everything is better than just making it up. He did not make the connection logically that you are stating, that you are asserting. You did that internally on your own. You need to drop the persecution complex.
I am not making shit up. I am expressing an interpretation
And Catz didn't
of
say
an
you were.
observation.
And Catz did not say you were.
He said, and making
He said doing
shit
the research.
up.
He said doing the research and putting in the time and effort is better than just making shit up.
Okay. I am
Drop
not
the persecution complex.
Then get your panel member to stop persecuting me.
He didn't. He did not.
Yes. Okay.
You attributed something to his message.
No. I do not believe that if he had rephrased that and left out the word shit, that I would not have reacted, okay? He is casting aspersions. He's not evaluating my arguments. He is hand-wave dismissing. Listen again, gentlemen. I'm going to say it for the final time. If anybody were to...
And this will be your final point.
This, okay? Snell's law wasn't written overnight. Rayleigh's criterion was not written overnight. These guys, I would bet, got paid to research, okay? That's what it would take for me to do this. I would walk away from this job in a heartbeat. I would science the shit out of this. It would take a team of people, not just me, a team.
I agree. It would take teams of people, many years, and to investigate things like optics. And fortunately, we're in a position that's what we've had. We've had thousands of hours, and they've come up with completely different conclusions.
You are just now. You're just reiterating. You are ignoring.
We are getting final points because we need to get going because MCToon does have a follow-on appointment, as was stated earlier. So, Catz, would you like to wrap up and have your final point? Then we'll do Gleem and let MCToon carry us out.
Yeah, my final point was, and I'll make this very, very quick. Ultimately, in my 10-minute presentation, I said that, if we're going to have any kind of alternative to our understanding of science at the minute, we need proper explanations with proper scientifically reviewed papers from people who put the work and the time and the effort to get that data. And we haven't had any of that from the Flat Earth side on refraction. I do appreciate all the work Gleem's put in. He always, I do think Gleem always presents himself well. But I don't think on refraction we've had anything like that from the Flat Earth side. That's me done.
Right, Gleem, final words?
Okay, just on the perspective side, I think I got handwave dismissed. I did present a science paper. Whether you go and wait and read it, whether anybody saved it or put it up in their extra tabs, I don't care, to be honest. At the end of the day, what would you rather me doing, presenting nothing and just talking about it, or actually presenting something as evidence? And I think the best evidence I can present is a mainstream science paper from NASA scientists and provide mathematics that I've then gone away and looked into it and found out the compression limits. Either way, it doesn't prove a thing, but it was just all handwave dismissed. You didn't show a thing. On the refraction side, I think it's completely unbelievable that Catz has come in here thinking, yeah, he's going to get a peer-reviewed paper from someone thinking it's flat. Put it this way, the whole of that science that has been formulated has all been formulated around and molded around the globe Earth model. So whatever you're seeing, whatever you're measuring indirectly, you are molding that around the model anyway. So regardless, you're not going to get peer-reviewed flat earthers. That is completely unbelievable, because the peer review wouldn't accept it. That's the whole purpose. But Travis has got valid evidence. Again, he may not have of the numeric analysis, but I haven't got the observational evidence. Either way, we've both brought something to the table and it's both been handwave dismissed. I don't mind either way. I'm all happy. All I know that is I've got a single coming out at the end of the month. If anyone's into reggae, 31st of July on Spotify, on Apple, everything. It's a reggae track with Gary Nestor Pine from Love Generation, Bob Sinclair fame. Salute. Thank
Go
you very
mate.
much, MCToon and everyone. Oneness. Take care. Thank you.
And MCToon, before we get to yours, and I really mean in where you are going to carry us out, I'm going to say thank you to the panel members for showing up and most of you behaving appropriately throughout the entirety of this. MCToon, thank you for considering me for being a part of this. It was entertaining and actually mostly enjoyable. I will say that. And for those who don't know already, yes, links to all the panel members' channels will be in the description below. I am Jared of AT2 Productions, the feathery best, the ruler of the nest, the sometimes angry eagle. Good night, everyone.
All right. Well, thank you very much to everybody for coming on, and Travis for coming on too. And I know you got worked up, but you know, I like you, man. I do enjoy talking to you. So you know, maybe at some point in the future we can, you know, have a little more.
Yeah, listen,
a different
listen. It would have been
conversation,
amicable. Yeah, it would have been amicable if I wasn't strawmanned and then ridiculed by the
Get
host
over
calling
yourself.
me a child.
All right. Yeah, we do need to move on. So thank you. I think we heard that. So I have some super chats. If anybody wants to has to drop out or something, then go ahead. But I do need to. I'm going to read these here. So I'll try to go quick. If there's any specific questions, to anybody, will, you know, if you don't mind answering kind of quickly, that'd be good. So let's see. I think we're at. Oh yeah, Gleem from RT96 says, Gleem, is anything not possible on Mock Earth? And since you claim that nothing can be known, how do you know? How do you know nothing can be known? That's a good question.
It's the whole thing. So I get that view from Richard Feynman, by the way, and everyone who slates me for it, you can do one. Go and look up Richard Feynman, Uncertainty Principle, and his BBC One show. He says exactly the same thing. He knows nothing. He's got certain degrees of belief in certain things, and there's certain things he knows nothing about. So, but he's not scared about it, and I'm the same way. I don't care not knowing anything at all. Anything can change. That's what science is all about.
Yeah, and Feynman is fantastic on that in leaving the door open within science to say, you know, something can be replaced. You just need a, you know, better explanation than what we have already. So I like that. So all right, Hugh Jars says, what does this button with the dollar sign do? Lets you say things, like it lets you make me say things. How about that? Oh my goodness. GRQ Naughty Ulk. I don't know how to, I'm sorry. I'm sure that was wrong. Says, no matter what Catz and Toon say, the response is, these go to 11. Okay. I love Spinal Tap. TN Star 78 for €229 says 2 + 2 = 5. Says some flurf in the near future. I think that Riley will be saying that. Crafty Keela for €5. Space Comma and Kepler are both doing great. They've gotten so big, and you can see them in my latest live stream. So that's Crafty Keela. If you don't know Crafty Keela, look her up. Go to her channel and look at her baby goats, Space Comma and Kepler. Golden Brisket for $5 says, if there's a distance limit to viewing things, why is the bottom of a building invisible before the top when a squared plus b squared equals c squared? And another question, I think, if there was no horizon, you're just hovering above the ground, would something disappear bottom up? That's something I've always been curious about. And Gary Wybenga said yes, the bottom would disappear with no land or sea. I don't know. Anyway, Jessica G, NASA, quick, hit the switch, evidence incoming. Hit the switch, evidence incoming. I think that was to you, Gleem, because you're poking at us for that. The Snark for €5. Hey y'all, even if you don't like Gleem, hit the like button or the dollar button or both. I like Gleem. I know, Catz, you like Gleem.
I've got a lot of time for Gleem. Definitely, a lot of time for Gleem. A lot of respect for Gleem.
Yeah. Right. You know, to be fair, as producer, I like Gleem too.
To be
Yes.
fair,
All right,
I don't
sarcastic-
think I'm bad as well, to be honest.
That's good. Sarcastic Barman for £2 is if this audio is pre-recorded, why are there errors? Oh yeah, that was the plain truth. There was a little bit of weirdness in the audio, I think. So Bearded Devil 1864 for $10. Well, thank you. How thick vertically are mirages, and how are you able to see through the various dynamic or homogeneous layers at the horizon if the level horizon always rises to eye level, Travis? That's a bunch of anything on that, Travis?
I was answering. Can you not hear me?
Oh no, we didn't hear you until just now.
Can you not hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. That is a very, very good question. Okay? It is not a simple answer, but it is more complicated than Erebus seems to think that it is. Okay? The first thing that I will say is this. The mirage is not a vertical image. It represents the depth. Okay? Where the horizon ends and the mirage begins, that begins the distance to the erect image. So it is not vertical. It is on the depth angle.
All right.
That's all.
Kirsten Morse from New Zealand for $8.99 New Zealand says, not understanding a topic isn't evidence against it. This means reading about mirages off Wikipedia. Snap. Some shots fired there from Kirsten there to TPT.
Yeah. So, right. So what you need to remember, though, is at the beginning of my presentation, I said I chose to go with Wikipedia because it basically was saying the same thing as Andrew Thomas Young, sdsu.edu. Okay, so it's not just Wikipedia. It's saying the same thing as a renowned professor.
All right, and now Jessica G says, so the trucker with no degree explained nothing. It's a bit rough there. I'm sorry, Travis. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to say this.
Okay, hold on real quick. No. Can I not respond? Can I not respond?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a master's degree. Thank you.
Oh, excellent. And I think you said that before. So yeah, I remember that. So
Pew, pew, pew.
Gerq again says, my university just called and withdrew my physics credits for having listened to that for $5. So sorry. Gonna have to go take more classes, I guess. Punchy for $2 Monopoly, whatever. Misunderstanding refraction. That's a paddling. I don't know what that. You're gonna get paddled there.
It's a Simpsons reference. One of the teachers in Simpsons when he was a supply teacher.
It was the old guy with the big beard when he was a substitute.
That's it. That's paddling.
Cretan Bull for $5 The relationship between how condescending a flat earther's tone is and how wrong they are is absolute. Oh man. Sarcastic Barman for £5. Slow down, Catz. I'm drinking when you say something intelligent, and I'm gonna die.
Oh yeah, they changed the game. They changed the drinking game out there on you.
Oh man, that's tough. Crafty Keela, €5 Catz. I can't believe I'm having this conversation. Science. Been saying that for 5 years. Punchy for $5 MC2. Next time you spend the extra money and get baldy cats. This conspiracy cats person really annoys me, even with his better head of hair.
Oh, nice. I've been growing it out as well.
Yeah. It's another
Lockdown
10
hair.
years, and yeah, you can go to a metal concert.
Oh wait, that's Conspiracy Cats? I thought that was Phil Collins the whole time. Shit.
Well, he does have the instruments in the background.
He
All
does.
apologies to Phil Collins.
Yeah. I've never seen Phil with a guitar, just drums. I don't know. Let's see.
I'm just shocked you didn't hear it in the.
So Saeed Ahmed for $1.99 says, "Damn, Super Mario gets butthurt real quick." Travis, I think that's you, Travis. It's Super Mario. It's the wrong mustache there. Taddy Bogle says,
I was gonna.
You go ahead.
No, I was gonna try to make a Mario noise, but I had forgotten what kind of noises they make. So whatever.
Think about the most racist Italian thing you can think of, and that's probably it.
Guido.
All right. Try thinking. Try listening, you Doty Roaster. I don't know what Doty Roaster is, but I know who Try Thinking is. He's been in the chat here, making up his stuff. His level. It's all level. Bearded Devil says Travis did claim refraction was misinterpreted, and he has evidence of an as yet defined refractive effect. I listened to the playback. Then he says Travis is a proven liar again. Man. He is Bearded Devil and Travis have some history. Jessica,
Yeah,
Jessica.
He must be in love with me for some reason because he trolls my channel, and he must be like a. Oh, really? So, Bearded Devil can make barbed comments towards me, but I can't respond. He called me a liar, so I can't respond.
I can show you are one. I can show you are one, but don't think that someone loves you just because they're giving you that attention.
Do it. Fucking do it.
All right. We're gonna move on. Hold on. Nah, we're not gonna get sidetracked. I'm sorry. Bearded Devil, he gets to make me say stuff. Jessica G said, turn Gleem up so we can hear the lack of evidence. Bearded Devil says, if Travis says same height, same distance, same location, he's not 100% telling the truth. I agree. That image, those two images were not, I don't think, taken from the same place. With the same, certainly the same zoom. I don't think so because the horizontal size is the same. So
stop.
Craft Tequila for €2 says Travis tosses toys from the pram. I don't want a nap. Send the original source images with the EXIF information and GPS intact. That would be. It'd be good to see that then. So
yeah. How about you not make any accusations based on the slanderous comments of someone else?
I completely agree with those statements. It does not look to me like those images were taken in the same spot.
Yeah, they are highly refracted. Shit gets moved around, bro.
Yep. But the width doesn't change. The width doesn't change.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
All right.
Yes, it does.
Dave, can you just cut him off? That's enough. Craft Tequila, €2.
Comments.
Travis tosses toys. Travis tosses toys from the pram. Already said that. Jessica G, my 7-year-old, said Travis sounds stupid. Ouch. Ilya Moon, triggered pathetic tantrum. TPT, aka Travis. PhD Tony for $5 Travis, your scientific methodology is degenerative. It unexplains the vast majority of established science. I'm with you there. Jessica G says, so Travis's real name is Chad or maybe Karen. I've seen him. He doesn't have Karen's hair. John Rapp for $2. We agree. No research and makes the stuff up. Misspelled stuff. Jail Truth says the word of the day is projection. Wow. Macabre Malefica for $5. Without investing the time to study physics, you are just making stuff up. I think that's important. Understanding the physics is kind of the foundational part of it. So, Bearded Devil again says, Travis is making stuff up. Sarcastic Barman, Catz, you rock.
Oh, thank you, Barman.
Yeah. King Crew for $1. No message. Thank you very much, King Crew. GPS for $2. Gleem, static and dynamic are different things.
Oh my God. That is so funny. Seriously, we had an argument and he's trying to get out of it here, but he's basically saying that VBA, if anybody's into coding,
Oh, my
VBA
goodness.
is not internal to Microsoft Office. He said it's external. It's an external
Statically
tool.
and dynamically linked libraries. Excellent.
He
I don't do
went
Windows.
onto DLLs and
Well, it does come with Office, but
Exactly.
it's not the only way to get it, and it could pre-exist on your system
No, what he was saying-
before you install Office. But if you have Office, you have it.
Oh my goodness.
No, it was just image recognition using Excel and using conditional formatting. And I said, yeah, and I would use VBA because I've been programming since I was 17 on that. I'd use VBA to do it, as I've done before. And he said, no, you can't use anything external. I said, no, it's internal. VBA is internal. And then he started wandering off on some pipe dream. He's Unix as well. That's why he says all this rubbish.
Well, I'm all, so I kind of know, basically. I just know.
I'm an access
all right,
programmer from the start.
John Rapp says, same old. Travis did a Tanty. The snark for €2. Baldy Catz and MCToon rock. Thanks. Stringer News 1. This is more than anybody wants to know. Says I'm not wearing any pants. That is all. Thank you. No.
Awesome.
Mike 71. What is refracted behind? What is it refracted behind if it is flat? Refracted behind the horizon, but if it's flat, that's a good question. Bendy Light for $2. I only wish Travis could have been more dramatic. Yep. I don't know how that would have gone. Jessica G. So Travis is more triggered JM Truth. Is a more triggered JM Truth. Ooh. Ouch. Yep. Macabre Malefica says Travis reading on epistemology and Popper's hypothetico-deductive reasoning should explain why you're just making stuff up when it comes to science. Is that reading? Is that the master's degree that he has?
Falsification. No, it was just to do with falsification.
Popper. Yeah, Popper. That'd be, yeah. I was thinking maybe that was like his degree. I think Travis's degree is from in master's is a religious degree, if I remember correctly. Master's of divinity, I think. So Bearded Devil again for $10. Thank you very much. Says the Mirage is 3-dimensional, your words, but has no vertical height. That's called 2-dimensional. Do you have the evidence that a Mirage only has length and width, zero height, Travis? Yeah, there's no measurements. It's just like looking at stuff, I think, is the deal. That's the problem. So, Sleepy Dan for $2. Wah, I'm not acting like a child. Wah. I gotta say, Travis, it was, yeah. When you said I'm not acting like a child, you said it like a child. That's my opinion. So Jessica G says, what I learned today, the earth is still round. I agree. Truth Nerds for €2 says, gets a rate when Catz says stuff, says it himself. Captain Crunch for $2. Space comma. Just a
Space comma.
right there. Yeah. All right, we're almost at the end here. Yep, they both have degrees and work dead-end jobs. Aw. I don't think Gleem has a dead-end job.
My job is not dead-end.
Yeah, I don't think trucking is driving a
Can't
semi.
be me.
Yeah.
I haven't got a degree. I'm a data analyst and SQL programmer. Nothing, no science degree at all. Nothing in optics. I said at the beginning, I only learnt about all of this because of Flat Earth.
Oh, is that why you went with a psychology paper?
No, because I could back it up, as I say, with that perspective measurements using a monocular lens.
And you used a paper unrelated to the topic you were trying to confirm. Okay, great.
No, it's completely related. It was called visual space and perspective modeling.
Was that in your PowerPoint? Was the name of that in your PowerPoint? Okay, so
Yep.
so yeah,
It's
all
in the
right,
bottom
I'll-
right-hand corner, and it's got the link in there as well.
Are you,
But
are you
just
talking about the
literally search
paper
for the name.
itself? I linked the paper into the chat a while back. Let me see if it's still in there.
brilliant.
Yes, it is.
Yep,
So
brilliant.
I put it in the side chat there.
But that links to many others. I mean, I could talk to you about the whole history. 1951, Galinsky done her equation. They later found out it was an expansion hypothesis rather than an actual falling short or slant error. And it's still used today. It's used today in modern technology of, as I say, robotics, things detecting stuff using a camera.
all right. Okay. Let's almost hear it. So JL Truth for $4.99 says obviously got his master's at the same place JM did. I think they're different. I would definitely go with Travis's degree over JM's for much more rigorous. Dandelion S says hi to Hip Hop Hippie for me. He's at work listening. Oh, hello Hip Hop Hippie. Next week, you and McFlatty. I'm sure it's going to be lots of evidence because Jamie Smith says hello from Manchester, UK. MCToon, enjoy the show. Well, thank you very much, Jamie Smith. That is it for the super chats. Thank you very much for the super chats. I do need to go. I have something, another one in an hour. So in an hour, if you want more, we've got Rayism24B in an hour on the same channel here. Next week, Hip Hop Hippie and McFlatty, myself, and maybe FTFE, or we'll see who else. Who else will come in for a maybe another 2-on-2? We'll see how that goes. Try to keep it cool. So, if you like this, make sure you click the little thumbs up thing. If you want more, go ahead and subscribe. I have The Plain Truth and Conspiracy Catz already in the description. I'll get AT2 and Bool if you want. And Gleem, whatever link you want, just send it to me. I'll drop it in the description. I know it maybe is maybe the link to your single coming up. So that'd be great. So I think that's all we have here. And yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for listening. And we'll catch you again next time. Thanks a lot. And Bool, whenever you're ready, do whatever you do to end the stream.